Estate Cigar Studio in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome to the Spare Notes series with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and William Cooper.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Spare Notes series. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTabacco.com. I am here in the Drew Estate Cigar Studios. Check out the new Liga Privada H99 Papas Fritas hitting stores this week. I am joined once again by my very good friend, Mr. Mitchell Santaga, also of SmokinTabacco.com, in the Gurkha Cigar Studios. And from Indian Trail, North Carolina, the man, the myth, the legend, in all black tonight on the black stage, it's Mr. William Cooper of cigar-coop.com. Gentlemen, how are you? Oh, and he's got the blackened cigar,
black
too.
tonight. I'm in a blackened cigar tonight, yep.
Oh, man,
Yeah,
you got to go
fully,
on,
fully
Coop.
planned. It was all planned, actually.
Yeah, well, Drew Estate Cigar Studios, we love to see that. So,
We just big 90 rating from Coop today. That Blackened got. So
I saw that.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't hand those out easy anymore. They're not handed out like candy. So.
Neither do we, but I think we.
Oh, I know. I'm seeing it. Good start. Yep, good start.
We might have one. We might have one coming out this week that's above 90. So, I think a lot of people are going to be intrigued by that one, and that's all I can say. That's all I can say.
Oh, I think whatever it is, when 90s are not given out easy and they're earned, it's going to make those whatever review that is very special. So, I think you'll be happy.
Yeah. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to get that one out there. But it's like I said, it should be out this week, and it's gonna be a high one from what I hear from my guys. It's gonna be a high one. So we are here once again. It's Saturday night as usual. I'm looking at the comments here. I see Dan Thompson's here. Obviously Mitchell's here. There he is. Hello, everyone. In the Benjamin Dakota Rogers shirt. He's keeping that streak alive. I love it. He's dedicated. Mitchell is one of the most dedicated people I've ever seen. Dan Thompson from McAuliffe Cigars is here tonight. As always, he's usually here. And our friends from Las Vegas, Kevin and Barbara, are here once again with us. Here in the
Why is he not
section.
watching the game? Watching the game.
They're probably doing both.
He's
okay.
if I know Kevin and Barbara, they're in their cigar room right now. They're in their chairs, and because it's probably ridiculously
they've
too
two
hot
eyes.
over there right now, and they got the game on, and they got us on, and they're multitasking. They're both probably smoking something good.
I bet.
They're all settled in. Yeah. See, Barbara said we're doing both. Yeah. Alan
Yeah,
Rubin is here
up 1-0,
tonight.
by the way. So.
Vegas is up 1-0.
Oh. Vegas up 1-0.
Nice. Well.
Oh, Alan
hopefully-
Rubin's here.
Alan Rubin is here as well from McAuliffe Cigars. The McAuliffe team is here. No Andy Gaffey, but, I know that you guys,
He's not watching the Red Sox Yankee game then.
well, it's funny. I forget there was a discussion that was had in the comments on Facebook recently, and I think it was Alan who said something about like where are all the fans or whatever. Or someone said something about it. I can't remember. And he's the one who's notorious for talking shit, and then when his team's losing, then he disappears.
He's been stand up on these championship series though. I'm gonna give him credit, Alan. He has been stand up with the Panthers series, and he's been stand up with the Heat series. He hides sometimes with the Yankees, but it's 162 games. But these championship series, he has not been hiding. So he's done a good job with that.
All right. We'll give it to him.
I'll say that. Kind of hid last night when the Yankees lost to the Red Sox, but he's getting there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
It's an ugly year for both of those teams anyway. So no one's a winner. No one's a winner in that series, regardless.
Oh no, the Phillies got destroyed 9-0 today after winning the best game of the year yesterday. Just never ends with us. So go figure.
That's what
Yeah,
happens.
Jays are doing terrible.
And it's funny. I don't know if you heard our Wednesday night show with Matt and Garrett from How About That Cigar, but it was funny. We were talking about there's always going to be some haters, right? There's always that one guy who just hates, and I forget what it is we were talking about, but it was funny. And Garrett said, there's always going to be that one guy who just loves to hate for no reason. And I said, I know, just like that one guy who hates Gabe Kapler and nobody else does, And
Well, you don't follow. You should follow the San Francisco Giants a little closer. There's a lot of knowledgeable fans out there who want that guy gone. It's not just me.
I know, but you're the only one we hear about it from, so we got to pick on you because you're the
Because
only voice.
And by the way, I just want to give an update, a Gabe Kapler update. He
here
is
we go.
losing 4-0 to the Cubs right now. So I'm just saying. The Cubs.
And where's Jay Davis? Jay Davis isn't. He's a Cubs fan. He's got to be here to.
I think Jay's up at that Fuente event in Michigan. I thought.
Oh, did he go to that?
He went to that. Me. Yeah. So yeah, he's either there or coming back. But I know he went up there because we were talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jay's a one to travel for events like that, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I wish I'd known about that event because it would have been something great to do with my dad. Actually, I think he would have loved an event like that. I never knew about the event until Jay told me about it.
Yeah.
Really. So I mean, it never really was something promoted. So, it's a shame I never knew about it, but it's been going on a while.
Yeah. And it's Father's Day is approaching next weekend, so
Yep.
there's a lot of Father's Day focused events right now. Fuente usually releases their father and son set at Father's Day, which is always cool. Last year they had a limited edition cutter that came in the box too. That was really cool.
Yep.
So that time of year. So it's the dad time.
Yeah. Yep.
McAllen for Alan Rubin says, just like Coop, the Yankees are leading the Red Sox in the 7th inning.
I said that. I said the Yankees were winning over the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Yeah, pay attention.
All righty, Mitchell.
Alan got his quota. Alan got his quota of comments for the night. I can just say that.
All right. I'll make a note of that.
Yes.
Mitchell, what are you smoking over there up in Canada?
Yeah, I lit up a nice Southern Draw Kudzu Lancero.
Ooh, okay, that's a little different.
Yeah. This the Kudzu's got a little bit a very unique binder. I think it's actually got a double binder, and one of them is Omotepe.
I like Omotepe.
Yeah, it's definitely a Lancero that gives you a lot more.
I say that's got some power.
Strength.
Yeah.
And really, really flavorful on the retro. You got to be careful not to retro too much of this cigar because it really gets up in those sinuses. But yeah, I really like this. I think this has probably about a year plus of age on it at this point.
Oh, okay, nice.
Nice. So, yeah, smoking really well so far.
And Coop, you had said you're going to be smoking the blackened, the M81 from Drew State, the Metallica cigar.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think the Toro size is the one that really shines for me in this. Really, really good cigar, and like I said, I just went through a review of it and enjoyed going through them with the reviews. So I said, why not go with the all black theme tonight and light one up?
Yeah, and I think Kevin's going to be. He has them. I know I sent them to him, but Kevin will be doing a review on those at some point too. So I'm curious to see what he comes up with versus your review too, because it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's always fun. And I know we're gonna probably talk about an example of this sometime in the show, but I think it's a lot of fun when media guys have differing opinions on a review. There is no wrong answer. Whether I like something or don't like something or vice versa. And I think there's fun to that. And I can tell you and I have had conversations where we've disagreed. And a couple of times I've come back around and said, Matt, I'm going to admit, I think you were right on this one, and I got it wrong. I can think of two cigars from Saka in particular.
Paladin and Saka Khan.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm going to give it, but it's fun to have those differing opinions. It really is. So I look forward to when you guys do it, when Kevin has that review out. I usually won't read someone's review, though, until
after you did it yourself.
I review it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I sometimes? Yes, but you want to try to be as independent as possible with it to get a feel for it. So but afterwards, usually once I publish the review, I will start looking at the other reviews to see what it scored and how it did.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Like I said, we got we got a high score coming out, I think, this week, and then I know at some point Kevin's going to review that cigar as well. So I'm excited to see what he said. He already commented in the comments that the M81 is solid, so I already know it's good.
Yeah, if Kevin's saying it's solid, and Kevin's tough on his reviews. He doesn't.
Oh, he
softball his
is.
reviews. I've seen his reviews for a while. So if he's saying this, that's a high praise from him.
Oh yeah. And Kevin is not shy to score something low. I mean,
absolutely. Yep.
So a good review from and I think that's important, and I think that there's a lot of people out there who don't understand that, and they're like, oh, this guy doesn't know how to review. He gives everything low, and it's like, no, he's just very critical. And then you see people out there who give every cigar a 94, 95, and 92, and it's like.
I was in that boat, I know, and it took a while when I changed it. It kind of upset some people, but it took 3 or 4 years to kind of get out of that mindset. And there were things I was doing, Matt, that was leading to inflated scoring. Like scoring appearance really isn't a good idea, is what I think.
It's worthy of mentioning it, but I don't think that it should be a heavy part of the score.
Yeah, we mentioned appearances and packaging, but they don't count and pre-light. Those 3 things don't count in the score. But I still think they're an important part of the review. I still think if the cigar is sloppily put together, looks kind of. You want to let people know that ahead of time.
Well,
it doesn't need to be scored in it.
Well, let me just give you a good example. Like, look at a lot of Padron cigars, right?
Yeah.
Look, I love Padron. This is not a disrespect, Mark, but if you look at Padron cigars, I mean, they're not the most even and symmetrical looking cigars. They look a little, kind of rough looking, so to speak. They're not smooth and pressed all the way through. They're a little off looking. But you cut one and light one, and it's one of the best fucking cigars you've ever had. I mean, Padron makes great cigars. They taste great. They burn well. They don't look as beautiful, I would say. Not that they're ugly, but they don't have the most perfect looking appearance, in my opinion. But they smoke and taste unbelievable. So, again, that's why it's like, at the end of the day, what's more important, the way it looks or how it burns and how it tastes? Because at the end of the day, I mean, that's the part that's really going to, So I agree. I think it's very important.
Yeah, and it's funny. When I was at Padron earlier in the year, I saw some of the unbanded cigars, and I had that same reaction. Man, these just look like kind of, they're kind of rustic and, but I know they're great cigars and everything, especially. But it was kind of funny when I looked at the cigars sitting in the factory like that,
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. And I just remembered. I don't think I said what I was smoking. I'm smoking the Gurkha Grand Age 2 Connecticut. This just came out. More budget-friendly cigar, but it smokes like a $12 cigar, I have to say. It's a great cigar.
There's a Gurkha review coming out on Coop tomorrow, just FYI. The Pure Evil will be coming out tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We had that. We were doing that one ourselves. Unfortunately, that one was sent to Mitchell, and that one was sent directly, and Customs got a hold of it, and when they opened the package, they sliced it open, and they sliced right through all 3 wrappers. And they all were just... And I said, Mitchell, don't even review it. It's not fair, because that's not the cigar's fault. It's not that fault.
No, you can't. Once that cigar has any sort of damage, look, even if the wrapper is peeling a bit on mine, if the wrapper's peeling before I light it, I'm not reviewing it. Yeah. If it peels when it's being reviewed, that's another story.
Well, you know what's interesting? You recently did a review, and I know we talked about this, and I know you already know where I'm going, and I know it was a different size. But
yeah, and that's why I actually wanted to talk about this tonight, yeah.
But you did a review on the Macanudo Flint Knoll, which I smoked, Mitchell smoked. I don't know if Kevin smoked it, but I know me and Mitchell smoked it. We both enjoyed the cigar. It tasted good. It was a nice cigar, but we both said the same thing, that the wrapper is so fragile. It cracked very easily. There was stems sticking through, very clearly protruding from the wrapper, and so right into the first third, it already started to kind of break down, and it was unfortunate because the cigar tasted really good, and I really enjoyed the flavor. I was like, wow, this is great, but that wrapper, it just seemed like it was as thin as like a single sheet of toilet paper. Not to make like a bad, reference, but it just seemed really thin to me. And the cigar was very well humidified. It was smoked, in the most ideal conditions, I guess. So it's not like, it was dry or it was. No,
Right.
it was very well taken care of. It just, I don't know. And then Mitchell said the same thing. And I'm like, so it wasn't just me. But then you had said in your review, I mean, you did a different size, and you did touch on this. And I know you wanted to talk about it, so I'll let you kind of.
Yeah. For what I'll say is, I know you guys smoked the Toro, and I thought the Churchill was a far superior experience. We did a roundtable, the Coop team, and all 4 of us gave it a 91, which
Yeah.
has never happened. That's the highest score we ever gave it. But there were a couple of things I'll note on that. So in my review, when I took pictures of the packaging, the cigars were rolling. They were in slots, those individual slots, and they were rolling around a little in there, which is not a good sign when that happens.
It's true.
Like, when you open a box, you should see. I know when they pack these boxes, you've seen it too. They make sure everything lines up, everything's symmetrical. But I'm sure they did that, but these were rolling around in there. And no doubt that I did have one. I think I might have mentioned in the review, one of the cigars in the box was cracked. The other was fine. But that was a very fragile wrapper. I will agree with you on that. It just didn't affect us with the review, with the cigars we ended up reviewing. But I also thought that the Churchill was far superior to the Toro in every sense. The Toro, I thought, was a nice cigar. But this Churchill, this is contending probably for a top 10, maybe top 5 at this point with me. So we'll see how it goes when it goes to a resmoke later in the year.
Yeah, I'd be very curious on that one. Like I said, I want to smoke. I don't know. I don't know if I have any more, because I think I only got like 2 or 3 of those, and I know I smoked some and Mitchell smoked some, and I don't think I have any more. So I'm gonna have to get some more, because I want to smoke it again. I mean, like I said, it wasn't that it was all around bad. So to be fair, I want to give it another run, and then I haven't smoked it in the Churchill size that you reviewed, so I want to smoke that size too. And a lot of it's because of your review. I mean, I want to smoke it for myself and see kind of how it lines up.
Right, and that's like I said, the beauty of some of this. So, I'll give you another example. With the same company, Cohiba Serie M. I was smoking cigar after cigar, and the wrapper was. You ever smoke something when the wrapper's not all right and it pops and cracks the wrapper as you're smoking it?
Yeah.
6 or 7 cigars in a row did that with me. In a humidor that I know is under optimum humidity. And that cigar ended up getting an 85. I mean, it just did not score well. And there were people who had that as a top cigar of a couple of years ago, that Cohiba Serie M. But for me, it it was popping and cracking. It was like popcorn how it cracked.
Yeah.
So it happens.
Sorry.
Skip says the West Tampa White has a fragile wrapper. I agree. I agree on that as well. A lot of Connecticut's have these. That's unfortunate byproduct of Connecticut's. They're very fragile wrappers. Especially the U.S. Connecticut ones are even more fragile, I find.
Yep.
The Ecuadorian ones have a little more beef to it, so.
Yeah. I can't remember if I had the West Tampa White yet. I think I had the West Tampa Black.
It was forgettable, the white. I'm sorry. Sorry, Rick. The black was better, but the white was forgettable.
And then they recently launched the red, which I know is out now.
Yeah, they launched the red, which is their third one. So,
have you had the red?
Hopefully it's better. Not yet.
Okay. Yeah,
I have not jumped on West Tampa like everyone else has yet.
Neither
a lot
have
of
we.
people like them. I just haven't. The white was a disappointment. The black was okay. But I've had Rick's blends before, and there's a lot of them I do like. So I'm sure something will hit me at some point.
There's another cigar that the boys keep talking to me about that I haven't had myself, and I think Mitchell has some on the way, so he'll have them. And that's the new the Aganorsa. Is it the Rare Leaf Maduro? that you guys keep talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know I keep hearing those guys talking about it. I see people on social media talking about it. I haven't had it yet myself. It's on my list of things to order. But I keep hearing some buzz about that. And have you had that one yet, Coop?
I have not. It's like at this point I put it off till after trade show review. I did procure some,
Okay.
but I was not a fan of the original rare leaf. Now that doesn't mean I'm not gonna like the Maduro. I thought the original rare leaf was a big disappointment.
My first smoke of it, I was disappointed. I said it to Terrence. I said, look, I'm just being honest. I go, I didn't like it. This is why I didn't like it. And I happened to be in Miami with Terrence. And he said, we're going to smoke it again. And I said, okay. And I smoked it again with him. And it was a lot better. So my second time around was better. And I was like, all right,
okay,
I still was. It's still like not like in my top Aganorsa leaf. But it was a lot better than the first one. So I look on it and I say, like, I don't hate it. I think it's a decent cigar. It's just not one of my favorites.
It was, to me, the hoopla around it. I know it's more of a Criollo blend.
Yep.
But Aganorsa has done Criollo blends before. So, and just that one didn't hit me.
Kevin says it's night and day from the original rare leaf.
Okay. Have you guys smoked the rare leaf fusion yet?
No, I haven't had that one either.
The rare fusion.
All right. I wasn't thrilled with it. I know
Okay.
they loved it. I didn't think it was a bad cigar. But I don't know if it needs a little more time. It just didn't hit me either, that cigar. So
Barbara said
it wasn't a dud.
Barbara said the Supreme Leaf is her favorite from Aganorsa, and I know that's one of Nicole's favorites as well. Usually when those come out, Nicole's very hot to grab those.
There've been some sizes have been better than others in that line. Is what I think. I think the best line they do is Aniversario Corojo. To me, that's their Rolls Royce line. They've never had a bad size in that line. The Aniversario Corojo, which they're coming out with the Aniversario Connecticut now this year. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's good.
I'm excited because, especially with the trade show coming up, it's a big time for companies to announce stuff and release stuff. And I'm excited because I feel like, Aganorsa spent the last year and a half kind of going through their rebanding and their repackaging, and they had some stuff that came out, but, for the most part, they haven't really made a lot of noise on releases. And I'm excited because, now I see some stuff coming out, and I 4 or 5 years ago, I remember going into shops and, like, that's all the staff would talk about was Aganorsa Leaf. Have you had Aganorsa Leaf? They got Cigar of the Year with, Cigar Authority. I was smoking a lot of that stuff back in the day. Really enjoyed it. And then, of course, I kind of, drifted all over the place once I started, getting more involved in the media. But, yeah, no, I'm excited. Aganorsa was one of the first brands that I found that I really loved and I smoked a lot of and really enjoyed. So I'm hopeful for them this year. Hope that they kind of,
I miss those. Yeah, but I miss those old Casa Fernandez Miamis. They were fantastic.
Oh,
that was the best line. And the Arsenios.
Yeah.
They need to get back to those lines. Those were their two best lines. The Miamis and the Arsenio were fantastic. Those were their A game lines, and I would love to see those make a comeback.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yep.
You know what cigar Aganorsa makes that I really enjoy? And I don't know if they still put it out. I know it's a small production, but I don't know if they still do it. The Buena Cosecha?
They still have it, yeah.
They do?
And it's an underrated. I agree. I remember when they came out with it, the packaging was horrendous. And then Terrence kind of streamlined the pack. It wasn't Terrence who did that packaging. Then he actually made it a lot better. Kind of Aganorsa sized it. But that's a good. It's a value price cigar too. It doesn't seem like it gets the attention that the Validation series or the Anniversarios or the Supreme Leaf gets.
Yeah, I remember telling Terrence, I said, Terrence, I had a couple of these laying around and like I really enjoy them. And he's like, oh yeah, we make them, but I don't think they're like on a full production from what I understood. But then I haven't seen them in a while, so I don't know if they just kind of silently go to retailers when they do have them, because I haven't really seen them around.
Yeah, I don't think it's like I think it's a line they have in production, but he's probably right. They don't. He would know, obviously. They just probably aren't rolling as many of them.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's Aganorsa is a brand that I'm excited to see at the trade show this year. To really check in with them and see the booth
Yeah.
and see Terrence.
By the way,
obviously.
Terrence and Kevin have their awards going to Vegas this year. That the old airport awards. So they're in my possessions.
Oh.
So yeah, they will be. They will. Yeah, there was a problem with the award last year. There was a problem with about 5 awards last year, and I had to reject them at the last minute.
I have to say I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed, and I partially blame you, Coop, because I think you fucked us on this one because you kept spreading so much hate. Well, you kept spreading so much hate about the airport selfie thing, and I think you really discouraged people. But there haven't been as many. There haven't been as many participants.
No. Okay. So listen to me. When I got out of this, first of all, I never discouraged anyone. I never discouraged anyone. Let's be clear on that, right? Because I know you're kidding around, right? But I wanted to make sure this was your deal. But Matt, there's a reason why I gave it up. It was dying. Okay, that's why I gave it up. I saw the downtrend. I'm like, well, it's not worth my time to do this anymore.
No, Jay, it's still active, but people don't want to play the game, so I don't know. I might just I might cancel it altogether. I don't know. People got to start playing the game.
I can't blame you. But I think it jumped the shark. It probably jumped the shark. It hit its peak. But it's like I mean, you can't give $500, Matt, to Terrence. You just can't.
No, can't.
You just can't give it to. I mean, look, Terrence is creative, but it's such an easy thing, and but I think people, I don't know, they weren't into it. That's why I canceled. That's why I got out of it. It wasn't because any other reason. So when you said take it, I'm like, fine, but I think you need to. I don't know. I needed some sort of new life. The fact that Matt is giving away cash, and you people can't put an airport selfie and tag it. By the way, I've seen you count incorrected tagged posts, Matt. You know that people have been tagging incorrectly.
Oh yeah,
that's how.
And I've let people know it's not tagged correctly.
Okay.
It's not eligible.
You don't get. Matt's giving you money. Like I don't want to speak of this. If that's what you're doing, were you planning on giving money or something like that? Was that what the plan was?
It was a $500 cash prize, but
$500 to tag a photo correctly in an airport, guys. You guys, I don't understand. We've given away cash prizes too, and it's like people will go after stickers more than a cash prize when we give stuff away. I'm not kidding. It's unbelievable.
A sticker that they slap on some stupid thing that fades away.
They'd rather have a sticker than a $50 gift card. I am flabbergasted. That's my beef for the week. I cannot give away cash. Like, we're going to stop. Because, we're going to stop it. We don't see the people respond on it. You guys want stickers? I'll give you stickers instead. Well, it costs me less money.
I tried to come out bold.
He's giving you cash, people. He's giving you cash, people, for his airport contest, Matt. It's better than what I did.
I tried to come out bold and be like, all right, let's just up the ante. Let's put a nice big pot out there.
Absolutely.
There's like 4 guys who are doing it. You know what I mean? It's like
4 guys for $500. $500 he's getting. You guys should be, any of Matt's followers, you should be embarrassed that you're not doing this. Right? You reps who complain you don't make enough money could be getting a bonus here. You just kind of tagged it, right? Come on.
Skip said, "I will drive to the airport and take a picture for $500." It's a little more involved in that. You actually have to be traveling through the airport. You have to tag that you have to tag when you're traveling, as people do, but you have to tag us. You have to tag. You have to put the hashtag in there, and it has to be. You can't just be like in the bathroom at the urinal, like, oh, I'm getting it in real quick. Like, no, you have to put some thought into it. Like, you're putting this out there as an entry for what is a very good cash prize, and and people don't even want to be bothered with it, and it's like, fine, okay, I don't care. I just won't give out any money.
Now at any cash prizes we've been doing, I gotta have a minimum of entries. I mean, I can't justify it otherwise, but it's like, I'm telling you, we gave away a $50 Visa gift card and got more response for getting Coop stickers than a $50 gift card, and this is my audience. I am flabbergasted. We just had a whole talk on prizes in general, and I'm not sure what we're going to do about it, because I want to understand why people don't want a Visa gift card. I mean, they'd rather have a Coop sticker, which is worth like 30 cents.
So Kevin said, I'm at the airport a lot for work. I got to start doing selfies while on the job. I can't win, but I can get Terrence really fired up. And that's true. Kevin is ineligible because he's a Smokin Tabacco employee, but, It would be nice to help influence more people to play along.
Right.
Mitchell is not a very regular traveler, so he gets an excuse. I think he travels like twice a
I
year.
don't.
So
I
that's
travel,
fine.
I travel. I
Maybe.
travel by air confidentially, but when I mostly travel, I travel by car.
And that's true.
So,
And Coop tries to
but-
drive when he can, so he gets a pass on that.
But-
Plus he's retired from the game.
Well-
So, but Mitchell,
Well-
you bet your ass when you come down for PCA, if you don't do an airport selfie check-in, it's not going to be a good week for you. I'm going to tell you right now.
leave boy Wonder alone here.
Because you got like
he's
one
got enough to worry
opportunity, and if you don't do it, then it's like,
This guy,
you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? So I'm going to be watching out for you. You are ineligible to win, but you got to play along.
Hey, gotta represent.
Oh,
Maybe
my
we should change it to a cheesesteak selfie contest.
The cheese takes. Oh,
You know,
Here we
you
go.
know,
Or
there's
food-
something I
food-
want to
food
do around
photo
cheesesteaks
self-
with Terrence.
food
We'll have to
photo
talk offline
contest.
on this. I have an
Yeah,
idea
food
around
photo
cheesesteaks with
contest.
Terrence, by the way.
Okay.
Here
Go
we
ahead,
go.
Coop.
Yeah, we'll have to
Oh,
talk
this'll be-
offline on it to
this-
see.
yeah.
Oh, you want to
Yeah.
do this
Yeah.
offline? Okay. All right.
I
Mitchell,
want to run something by a few people and see how we can and then we can announce what it is, like what I'm going to do. But
Mitchell,
I wanna
don't
get
let
some
me
thoughts
forget
on-
to ask him after the show.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, it's disappointing. It is, and I expected more from people. And it sounds
I'm very
Jay
disappointed.
Davis is
I'm
in
ve-
Michigan, so if he flew there, I never got a check in. So shame on Jay Davis if he flew. If he drove, okay, fine. But driving from Texas to Michigan's a long ride. So
You know what I
No.
find the funniest thing, though, Matt, is these people they take more pictures in the airports than where they're going. It is hysterical.
I know.
Like, and then I asked, like, and especially the reps do it, right? And I asked the rep once. I said, "Why do you take pictures in the airport and not take pictures at the stores?" And they said, "Well, we don't want the other stores to know we're in town." And I just like mic dropped at that point. I'm like, "Huh? You're putting an airport picture up of where you're going, right? But you don't want them to know where you are in town." I'm like, that makes no sense. I mean,
The other stores get jealous.
I don't know. Did people in the cigar industry, like as kids, where maybe they didn't take enough plane rides, that they have to tell everyone they're taking a plane ride? I mean, I still can't figure it out. I mean, to this day, I can't figure out this industry's obsession with taking pictures on airplanes is to me, and everyone when they do it, you get this face like this, like they look miserable, like in every picture. Like there's no like the only guy who smiles for them is like there's a few. Kevin and Barbara did good, by the way. I want to give them. Rafael Nadal's great at it.
He's gonna say
smiling.
Rafael Nadal. He's always stoked,
Yeah.
man.
And look at the food photos he puts up and like you learn something about the culture where Rafael's going. Right? I mean,
Raphael
dude,
is a very cultured individual.
Oh my goodness! This last trip he had to gain 30 pounds. I mean, have you seen the amount of eating he's done on this trip?
Dude, I'm jealous. I like to eat.
It's
so-
carnage. This makes John Carney look like he's on a diet. Okay, compared to what I've seen. From
That's not
Rafael.
easy to do. I just
Okay.
ate with John last week.
And Carnage goes, but Raphael's taken it to another level. And by the way, Raphael will be on the June 20th show with us, so we're going to be getting a full report on this eating extravaganza he's been on this week.
Yeah, I've been trying to get him on the show.
He's hard to get. He's
definitely
He's a
hard.
busy man.
Yeah, we've been trying him for a while.
He's difficult.
He's really busy. Trust me. He's really. I mean, I was with him in the DR, and right from the DR, he's just been on the road a lot this year. You'll get him. He's a good guy. You'll get him.
Alan said
He'll be at the trade show this
Alan
year.
said Raphael is also on an Altadis expense account. Most reps don't have an expense account that big.
He was on an expense account in Morocco riding camels. I mean, that was his personal time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't think he's going to be
He
expensive.
does a
now.
lot. No, I don't think he was expensive. I doubt Javier is going to approve the camel ride in Morocco. So
Yeah. By the way, Kevin said it's 3-0 Vegas right now, which was a little bit back. But
looking.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
what period, Kevin?
what's
What
gonna be
period are
really-
they in?
Two. Yeah.
They're in the second period?
Yeah. By the way, what's really cool is next year we maybe a Vegas Golden Knights game could be in the works at PCA.
I'm
if
in.
they're in town.
Hey,
I
I'm
already,
in.
I
Yeah,
already,
I think it would be-
me and Kevin already talked about it because I think he brought it up, and I was like, dude, if I'm in town and there's a game, like, I'm going.
I mean, they could be. They may be Stanley Cup champions, so it would be great. So, what
I
a year
think-
they've had, by the way.
I
Give
think
them-
both
give
of
them
Florida's
credit.
teams are going to lose the championships.
Look, and they have nothing to be ashamed about. Like, especially if that Miami game we were watching a couple weeks ago. Willie Morante is still complaining about the refs, by the way.
Willie Morante is going to be complaining about the reps until the day he dies. All right, and he's going to be
finally said
89 and be
something
like,
last
those refs,
I'm like,
fixed."
look, if anyone watched this Miami-Denver series, right? Look, you don't have to be a rocket. Denver is a championship caliber team. They are a much better team than Miami. It doesn't matter if the refs gave Miami every call, is what I'm saying. They are not. Miami's not beating this team. This Denver team is a great team, and they're going to probably get the NBA title for a reason. Not the refs.
Yeah.
What happened to the refs? What happened to the refs? If the refs didn't want Miami, why did Miami win Game 7 in Boston?
It's funny. Jay Davis says, maybe we can catch opening day for the A's in Vegas. Yeah, well, by the time the A's are playing
Aaron's
in
already been
Vegas,
talking about it.
by the time they're there, though, the trade show might not even be in Vegas anymore. So
No, there's talk possibly of them going next year if they're looking at options.
we're gonna play at Las
I don't
Vegas
think they're gonna
ballpark
get
where
major
the AAA team plays.
Either that or at Sam Boyd Stadium where UNLV is. But I don't think it's going to be up to Major League standards is going to be the problem. So
I don't know if
Damn,
I don't
that's-
think Sam Boyd would be a good option. I think Las Vegas ballpark would probably be better for them. I mean,
yeah.
hey, they could
You
probably
know,
struggle to fill that one too.
Yeah,
Just
I gotta
saying.
be honest. I'm really disappointed that Tropicana is getting torn down. It's an iconic hotel. It's been there for as long as I've been going there.
Yeah.
Yes, it's fallen on hard times. Yes, it's not the same, but it's still got a little bit of the old Vegas vibe to it.
It's one of the only originals
and-
left.
Yeah, and the other thing we're actually there's a really cool chapel, not chapel, actually church, right, a Catholic church right behind it.
Yeah.
And it's more of a mission, but it's a place. If you're in Vegas and you decide to go to mass, right? Some people may want to do it, right? I'm not gonna knock anyone who does or doesn't, but I heard that might be in some trouble too, and it's a shame because they really are. That little church is wonderful for tourists and so welcoming to everybody. And I hope they don't get kicked out because of this. But they're right behind the Tropicana, is why I say that.
Yeah, a lot of people, I'm very into, Vegas history. I'm a big Vegas guy myself. Not because I like to go there and party. I just love the city. For so many different reasons. It's not something I talk about a lot, but I do love the city, and I love the history of the city, and it's true, and that's a place where, places get old, they just tear them down. Here in Boston, like I live in Boston, 75% of the city is from the 1600s. I mean, the cobblestone roads are still they paved over them. They're still there. You go down to the North End, there's cobblestone roads. The Old North Church, there's cobblestone. I mean, it's original history here. You go to Vegas, and they just tear it down after 30, 40 years, and they just keep moving on. And so it's hard to appreciate the history there because most people don't know about the history there because they just get rid of it so quick, And the Tropicana, the Flamingo, who else is there?
The old Imperial.
That's not Imperial Palace
resorts.
anymore, but yeah. Technically, what is now the Horseshoe on the Strip, that was Bally's, was the original MGM Grand. Part of the Stratosphere used to be Vegas World.
The Bally's closed. The Bally's closed.
It became the Horseshoe.
Oh, right next to Paris.
Yep, and one tower is now going to be part of Paris, and the rest of it has now been rebranded as the Horseshoe.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
But that's connected. That's connected to Paris. I know they're all connected.
Yes.
So I guess yeah. So they didn't tear it down. They just and they change things every few years. I mean, Matt, you don't remember the old Champagne Laguna bar?
No.
In Vegas, which was the predecessor to Bar Luca. And I know I've told this story. I went to Vegas for an IBM convention, and I said, hey, let's go meet and have some cigars. I know a great place in the Palazzo where we could go smoke. It's a nice lounge area, and the people I was meeting got there early, and they're going to me. They go, "We can't find this place." I'm like, "It's right there, right when you kind of walk in. It's straight ahead." And they said, "No, it's like gone." And so I get there, and it was gone. It was all under construction. So I write this story on Cigar Coop. It was like one of the most read stories in the history of ever. I started getting phone calls the next morning. Like I remember Eric Espinosa rang me. It was 5 a.m. He's like, "Is it true the losing the Circle Bar?" It's like people were calling me up. They were all upset about this. And then Bar Luca replaced it, which Bar Luca has a completely different vibe than that old Champagne Bar did. That Champagne Bar was so nice. It used to be the best kept secret in the cigar industry till people found out about it, and then it became like you couldn't wait to get out of there.
The other thing that I liked about a lot of the resorts was they were really dedicated with their themes, and I remember being there like 2010, and a lot of them were still kind of that old school vibe that they had their theme. They were kind of dark inside, and it just you knew you're in the casino. And I remember I hadn't been back for several years, and when I finally made it back, like they were all kind of like plain white walls, really bright, not a lot of. I mean, this theme, but like it just more sterile. They're more sterile now,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It's just it's not what it used to be.
No, and it's so much harder to smoke now in Vegas. I mean, I'm going back 20 years ago. I remember how easy it was to smoke in the lounge areas. I mean, yes, you could smoke on the casino floor, but if you're not gambling,
well, you can't
you ain't
smoke at
gonna
the
be
tables.
smoking there.
Well, a lot of them,
right?
you smoke at the
slot machine-
tables and they bitch and complain, and you're like, well,
They
like,
bitch and
what
yeah,
the fuck?
yeah.
If I go 20 feet that way, I'm at a slot
Yeah.
machine. What's the difference? Oh, we don't want the smoke
Yeah,
in the
and-
dealer's face. It's like, I mean,
And
you're
then
in
the slot machines
casino.
aren't exactly comfortable. You can't just hang around a slot machine with a group of guys and not like put money in it. So,
I know.
it's not really. It's gotten a lot more tougher. That being said, I think we all agree that Vegas is probably still as much as Vegas gets to me at times, it's still the best place to have our show.
Yeah, it is.
You
It
know,
is.
I wouldn't mind it leaving Vegas, but I'm just telling you, I don't think there's a better place right now.
Yeah, and I know that the announcement for New Orleans to be confirmed is any day now, and I'm just so disappointed.
Scott was on my show Thursday night. I don't think it's coming any day. But I think it's coming. I think they're still in some negotiations with that right now. But he was non-committal, but he was committal. So he was talking about some things that like New Orleans has some zoning things that they can block off certain areas for smoking, particularly around the convention center area. So, he was, and then there was that whole thing that the PCA put out about the tax exempt status.
Yep, we saw that.
Which, all right, it was all right. Yeah, I mean that was I don't know if you want to call it newsworthy. I guess it is. Most people probably wouldn't care unless they understood it was a trade show, right? But I think PCA puts out a press release on it was not bad either. They need to communicate something like that too. So I'm not criticizing them.
No.
I
agree.
Well, I'm saying it wouldn't have been
Work hard.
exciting. That story wouldn't have been. No one would have cared about that story unless it was tied to the trade show. Is what I'm saying. That was my point.
Oh, 100%. Or
Yeah.
unless you actually live there.
Yeah.
And I know several people who've done the trade show in New Orleans years ago. Almost every person I asked was like, "Oh, it sucked. Oh, it sucked." And people, and I'm asking
sucked.
like manufacturers too. People like, I'm like, so why are we doing this? I mean, it's just.
It was now part of why it sucked. There were two reasons why it sucked. Number one was again everything's all spread out, right? Not a unique problem in New Orleans, right? Actually, three things. One, everything was all spread out. Two, is there is a heavy smoking ban that was put in place. The third thing, which won't be a factor if it goes back to New Orleans, it was the heat. The heat was just oppressive.
Yeah.
It was worse in Vegas because of the humidity. So, although like I said, 119 degrees in Vegas is a different story. I get that, but it was like 90s with like very high, 70%.
Yeah, but the difference is,
not fun.
as hot as it is in Vegas in July, which that won't be an issue, but as hot as that is, I'd rather take that than be in New Orleans for 90 degrees with like 200% humidity, and you're just fucking soaking wet the entire time, and
Yeah.
it's heavy, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, I just want to kill myself. Like, this sucks. Like,
So I'll
you
never.
know,
I was in a hotel a block away. Walked right to the convention center. Was soaked. Like by the time coming out of the convention center, my hotel room. By the time I got to the hotel, I was soaking wet. I'm like, you wouldn't. I just walked like a block. I mean, was all it was.
Jay
It was
said
brutal.
can't be worse than Orlando in 2012.
It was worse. 15, I thought was worse. Orlando. Here's the Jay. Orlando. At least I was able to get in my car with the air conditioning on. That was the difference. But getting in my car was a little bit of it was bad.
For Matt, like at least from what I've heard so far being said, and in terms of like Coop said, the three main things, things being spread out, the fact that you couldn't smoke, and the fact that it's super hot. So I think the PCA is really working on the fact of allowing people to be able to smoke everywhere that the show is going to be centered around. The other thing is I think they're also focusing on creating a atmosphere that is close to or around where either the hotels are situated or where the trade show is situated. So you're kind of eliminating all the issues that they had. And then like just looking quickly on Google, average temperatures for March and April are highs of 73, lows of 54. And then in April, you're looking at highs of 79 and lows of 61, which in my opinion are absolutely perfect temperatures. And so I think it would be a better trade show. It wouldn't be better than Vegas, but I think they're mending a lot of things. We're trying to make it as accessible as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'll encourage folks to listen to the interview we did with Scott because I talked to him a lot about how PCA is in a position of leverage in New Orleans right now because they want the show back there. So it sounds like that Scott is definitely looking at things that need to get done, and so give them credit on that. They're not just going in there and saying, "Oh, all right, New Orleans, whatever you say." I think they're going in, they're trying to really make this a good experience. And look, I gotta say, it's like we interviewed Scott the other night, right? I remember when I interviewed Scott, we used to beat him up for 2 hours, right? There's not much I could beat him up on anymore. The guy's done an incredible job. He's the best.
Has.
I said this. He is the best executive director in the history of this organization, in the 90 years of this organization. You can't beat the guy up on much anymore. So I'm going to give them a lot of credit. I have a lot of confidence in them right now, and the board. I know Jay's listening, and I have confidence in the board as well. So they'll get something done. If it goes to New Orleans, I think they will make it as good of an experience as possible. No, I don't want it to go to New Orleans, but I have confidence that it's not going to be like 2015 either. So.
Yeah, Jay was like, I don't care what it is, I'm going to the trade show. And that's true. I mean, either way, we're still going.
Exactly.
But,
We're all going. We're going unless something prevents us.
We just need something to complain about, right?
So.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's getting more expensive to go to the trade show. We know that, but funding is becoming more of an issue with us every year because it's getting more expensive to cover the trade show for us every year. We're trying to improve our coverage every year. We just bought some new equipment yesterday. It adds up. I mean, it was like when I was going myself, and it was like nothing. Now we got 4 people, and they all have to have the right equipment, and all this stuff. It's adding up a lot. So it is getting expensive to cover this show. I won't lie to you.
Yeah. Kevin says I will miss the 15-minute drive when it leaves Vegas.
Oh yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, but at least I know they were talking. Scott said one thing they were looking at was Fort Worth. Now, I'm secretly rooting for Fort Worth. That will save me some airfare with Bear. So.
Yeah.
So
Vegas works for us because we got Kevin out there.
We got Kevin. I got home. And what's cool about Kevin having him there? Like,
I'm close to
when
Vegas
we
too.
were going through all the pandemic stuff,
True.
Kevin was my guy on the inside of Vegas. Kevin would give me a lot of good information, what was going on with the pandemic in Vegas and everything. So he was a guy on the inside there, which is so that's a big loss for Smokin Tabacco, is what I'm gonna say. Not having the guy on the inside in Vegas there is
I know.
key.
I know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people say, well, they want to do a couple years other places and then come back to Vegas. So it's like, okay.
I think they want to keep it. I think they want to keep it in Vegas. From talking to Scott, they want to keep this in Vegas. So
long term, yeah. I think they're just. I think they're just waiting on some contract availability.
What was that comment about the $2,500 that just flashed by?
Oh, that was Jay Davis. He said the trade
Oh,
show
okay.
is cheaper than Pro Cigar, $1,600.
Okay,
plus
okay.
hotel.
I missed it. That's why. Oh, but the difference
I thought Pro
is
Cigar was way more expensive than that.
Pro Cigar is more expensive. No, Pro Cigar it is cheaper than Pro Cigar and Pro Cigar, and it's better ROI in it. There's no doubt about that. I do get more covered from those organizations than I do from the PCA though, so I do get more expenses offset with that. But yeah, it is. And the other thing is, I'm not taking 4 people there, Jay. So it does add up. Like we're not buying equipment. We're not, we're not spending hours doing videos. It's
The whole team
that's
doesn't
what
go
I'm
to
kind of
those.
saying. The whole team doesn't go to those, and but it is not cheap going to those 2 events either. If we didn't get some media support on those, we wouldn't be able to go. They're expensive. They're very expensive.
Yeah, Carney's going to celebrate his 40th birthday at Pro Cigar next year.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Let
I
me tell you,
didn't even realize he was that old. We were at dinner last week, and it came up, and I was like, "How old are you now? Like 37?" He's like, "Dude, I'm 39." I'm like,
I mean, I remember when he was
fuck.
27 or 28 when yeah, I mean, man, well, let me tell you, you missed out on a night of nights at Saga with Carney and
Here we go. We're
Rudy.
going to hear about this
And
again.
oh my god, we were videotaping the sizzling tomahawks. I mean, we were doing live coverage of the sizzling tomahawks. I mean, it was Carney. And you and I talked about it this week, right? On a social. When you go with Carney to dinner, you go in auto. You just sit back and let him do his thing. You let him. Same with Raphael. When you go to dinner with Raphael, it's the same thing. Let them just order. They will take care of you. You don't need to worry. You know?
So it's funny. So I know a lot of people knew that we were together because he tagged us on Facebook or whatever. But so yeah, John was in town. We went to dinner, as we do, because we're tight. And it's funny. So we get to the restaurant and we sit down, and my menu is still closed in front of me, and I'm just talking. I'm drinking my water. He's ordering wine. He's like, "Are you gonna look at the menu?" I said, "Why?" I go, "Why am I gonna wait? Why am I?" I go, I already know that you
Don't even
scoped
bother.
out the whole menu. I already know you know what you're gonna get. And he just laughed, and I said, "So what do we get?" And he goes, "We're gonna do the bone-in tomahawk." And I'm like, "See, you already know what you want." I'm like, "Why am I
You
gonna look at the
already
menu?"
Yeah. You don't need to bother. Same with Raphael. I went to dinner with Raphael at Bazaar Meats once, and let him just Raphael. I'm in your hands.
and
Just don't get me egg, and you'll be fine.
Not only did John know what we were getting, but he had it all planned out by course. He was like, "All right, first, I swear to God," he goes, "First, so we're gonna get shrimp cocktail and we're gonna get oysters, okay? And then then after that we'll order a second round. We're gonna get the tomato salad with burrata and the steak tartare. And then we were gonna get the tomahawk, and then they were doing a prime rib special, and he saw them come out and he goes, "Oh, those are the prime ribs." He's like, "Nah, we're getting those instead." So then that was the next round. So he had it all planned out, and then he picked the wine for each one. Like he got like a specific wine. Like, so not only does he know what he wants, but he also coordinates it like a pro. You know what I mean? It's like a production.
Yeah.
And it's so why get in the way of that? That's my only thing. Why get in the way of that? Let him do his thing. He's a professional.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I don't know how to order at a restaurant, but he's a professional. I let him do his thing.
Yep.
And it's always great. I can never complain. It's great.
Fun. Yeah. You made me think of a funny Raphael story, Raphael Nadal. So I went to dinner with him at Bazaar Meats a few years ago at TPE, the year I went. And he orders a ton of food. Of course, there's some oil-based dish, and I get oil all over my shirt. Right? Bad. Like, really bad, right? So, and I'm so embarrassed, and Raphael's don't worry about it. Well, this year, Pro Cigar, I see him come out from one of the meals, and I look at his shirt, and I'm like, Raphael, this guy, no. He's like, I said, because I told you not to worry about it. It happens to all of us because he had the oil on his shirt too. So,
you don't have to make a mess when you eat, but what I will say this: if you do, shit happens, but hopefully it also means that you really enjoyed yourself. That's all.
Yeah, it does. It does. We did a dinner with Carney one year. He took us to the Hard Rock Cafe. It was the MB Steak. And the other thing I'll say is not only do you let John order, you don't have to worry about there being enough food. There will be enough food. and more. So that's the other thing. Just you won't go hungry.
People are still talking about Pro Cigar in the comments. I think we've like moved away. People are still talking about Pro Cigar. It's great.
Why are they all talking about pro? I know some of them are going fast, but it's a great. I mean, I think we talked a lot about it in the show. It's. I plan on going again next year. I won't be going to TPE. And I probably won't be going to the Great Smoke because they're conflicting. But it's a unique opportunity. I get to be with people in the industry that normally don't leave the DR. So it's an important thing to go to.
Yeah, it's true. It is an important event, and it's very different. As we've talked about it on the show so many times. It is different, and again, the only thing that sucks about it all is it all takes place at the same fucking time of the year, and it's just.
Yeah, and well, I'm going to defend Pro Cigar here. They've been doing it the same week every year for as long as they've been doing it.
That's true.
And they really have to do it that week of the year because of the way of the harvest work. And if they, there's another harvest later in the year, but it's hurricane season, so you don't want to be having an event like that in the middle of hurricane season. So that's going to be an interesting thing to watch with TPE now moving to the fall. Not TPE, TAA moving to the fall. Is all these places they have it are hurricane-prone areas. Like Cabo has the Pacific hurricanes.
Yep.
Obviously, Casa de Campo. So that's going to be something interesting to watch. When they're gonna have because I think hurricanes will play a much more prominent role now in the weather with some of these ones now.
Hey, at least for us, we don't go to TAA, so it's really not a concern.
They don't want. Oh, they would. They. I don't think. Let's put it like this. I don't think they would let me within 10 miles of the TAA anymore. So
you specifically, they don't want you there.
I don't want anything to do with them anymore either. So it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We by the way, we still are covering a few TAA. If a company sends us a press release for TAA, we will cover it. But we will not seek it out anymore. We will not pursue it anymore. We will not. Yeah, I mean, if a company's asking us, hey, we want to share this, like we just did it with Casada, right? We did it with Herclots. We're still going to do that. If someone says it's a TA cigar to review, we'll do it. We'll probably even buy some like Pete's because Pete's always been a great supporter. But, if a company's like, we have to chase them down for your TA info, sorry, we're not interested. So it's we'll prioritize it like the companies are prioritizing it. I think everyone will be happier that way.
It's an interesting story. I know, Coop, I know you know about this one, but for those who haven't heard, Favilli Mombacho announced this week that they're closing up shop. They're shutting down. Which, I mean, I know Mitchell's very fond of them.
I am too, and I'll talk a little more about it. But yeah,
I haven't had a lot of their stuff. I've had a little bit. In my experience, I haven't seen a lot of it. It just doesn't seem to be very relevant, at least around where I am. So for me, I'm like I'm not really surprised. I don't really see a lot of that stuff or hear people talking about it. It's just one of those things that's kind of operating in the back. Mitchell knows it very well, but
yeah, and I'll give some thoughts on it too because I was there in February. But Mitchell, I know this was one you and I talked about this brand a lot.
So Favilli, like originally, they were started by a Canadian who started a beer company here, were very successful, and he went down on a trip, and I think it was a couple guys, but he ended up kind of staying with the company a lot longer. And they ended up getting a distribution deal in Canada where they could pretty much import their cigars at a much lower tax rate than pretty much any other cigar and distribute it into Canada. So they were selling in Canada, in the States, their cigars were ranging between probably $9 to $15. Some of their higher end stuff maybe in the $20 range. But in Canada, they were selling cigars at that same price point where cigars regularly are $30 to $40 here. Not only that, but they were also direct to consumer in Canada, and almost no other brands were. So you could order them with no taxes added on top of the price, and they would ship it directly to your house. So it was very accessible. And Claudio did a great job in the beginning with the blends. And then, in terms of like more recently, obviously Claudio leaving, and Jared kind of taking things over, bringing in Indiana. There was like a lot of changes happening. They did a few new reblends. They came out with the Granada series. They came out with a few other things. And I think the production scale, like again, Coop, you've been there. The production scale is tiny. Like it's flabbergasting that they can actually even get the amount of cigars that they got out in the past,
Yep.
because
Yep.
the factory is literally just a house. Like it
Yeah.
is tiny.
It-
So
and it's not.
so
It's
huge
like a
thing.
house set up. It's not like a factory.
Yeah.
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 Exactly. So even that in itself is another big thing, is probably why you don't see a lot, because they weren't putting in huge production orders, but they were putting in enough to get through what they were selling. And like I said, they had a little bit of like a stronger market in Canada and a bit more of that direct to consumer strategy. And then and yeah, like I said, I really liked some Claudio blends. I really loved a lot of the stuff Indiana did, but I think her kind of stepping into the role in Casa Ortez, and like with her own family's heritage, being in the farms and all those kinds of things, I think they had a larger goal than what Favili really could have offered Jared and Indiana. So I think the natural progression was to kind of turn it into this, beautiful destination, and then kind of transition into going into Casa Ortez and bringing that into light, especially because Indiana Ortez holds the name, and her father and everything like that around that, I think is a better and bigger story for her legacy, at least in my opinion. So it was like I said, the
That
few
makes
blends
sense.
that came out with, I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So but
Yeah. Mitchell, you nailed it. That's exactly what my discussions with Jared said. But you were right. Look, I think that when they had to change the name Favilli to Favilli because it was a trademark issue with Aganor Salif over the Mombacho name, and they couldn't use the name in the U.S. Right? So, I guess they could have sold the brands, but they couldn't sell the Mombacho brand in the U.S. Right? So it didn't have a lot of value. And Favilli was a newer name, and I thought in the short time Indiana was there, the blends she did were really good. The Granada series was really good. The Ladrillos, which you turned me on to, those box presses were really good. But like you said, that factory just did not have capacity. So Jared had really much made the decision already to stop manufacturing in that factory, and start to go. He actually left the company, formed his own distribution company, which was like Favilli. He was going to license the Favilli name, but he was going to use other factories. But ultimately, I think he decided probably not worth it at this point. Let me just kind of go with these other factories. He's working on stuff. Indiana's got the Casa de Ortiz stuff, like you said, it's coming out. He's got a line called MBF Cigars. That's going to be his brand coming out in there. So I think Jared and Indiana are a sensational couple. They are engaged, which
Power
is
couple.
a
Power
great thing.
couple.
Yeah, listen, they are. Jared, I know Jared going back to his Drew Estate days and Debonair days. He's a fantastic individual. Indiana is a rising star. I'm glad that they're not out of the industry. So they're still going to be, but the chapter was already. I could tell the chapter was already closed when I was at Favilli, and remember told you I couldn't even find any Ladrillos there. They had no Ladrillos, and that was just telling me right there that when I looked at it, I'm like, there's no way they can be doing this. But they also Jared is his words that the Favilli's staying with them, I guess. So I think it's still going to be co-owned by I guess the old Mombacho people, and Jared was a co-owner in the company as well. So the facility, I was really worried they were going to be closing that place, because you got to go there if you're ever there. It's a wonderful place just to relax in Granada. I spent a couple of days in Granada, and I loved going there. So they're not. The good news is that the folks who were making the cigars a year ago are not going anywhere. We're just not going to have Favilli branded cigars anymore. And maybe they could find a way to bring Ladrillos back in. I don't know if it makes sense for them to do Ladrillos anymore.
Yeah.
Just because, again, I think they've moved on from that chapter.
I hope they can repurpose the blend in some way because yeah, I thought that
It was
was
good. It was
great, and
just,
everyone I got it to in their hands, they were like, wow, they were just like,
yeah,
this is really good.
because Jared got me one. Jared, they gave me one. I mean, I told you I got one afterwards, and I like, wow, this was really good. And I thought we were all raving about the Granada Lava, which was the Maduro that Indiana did.
Yes,
I mean, we were buying them and smoking them. Like you could buy stuff there, and it was great. But it's sad. The Mambacho folks were really good folks to us at Coop, going back to when there was a guy named Marcus who was co-owner, when Claudio was there. They've always been great to us. Robbie Rasmussen was there for a while as a brand owner,
Robbie Raz.
brand manager rather. I mean, we've always had a great relationship with that company. So you hate to see them shut a chapter down like that. But the good news is it's not just like I said, it's going to live on in different forms right now. It's evolving as a business, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. I mean, it's kind of like it's not really the same thing, but you kind of look at like what Herklots did with Nat Sherman and then Ferry Ortego. Altria shut down Nat Sherman, and then Herklots kind of they bought the trademarks and kept that alive. They kept Timeless and Metropolitan, and kept it alive. So while the original company's gone, the Nat Sherman Townhouse is gone, very historic. The brands live on, and Michael and Brendan have done a great job of trying to preserve as much of what it used to be, just under a different ownership.
They have done a great job, really.
So
and that's a tough.
I don't maybe not exactly the same, but kind of similar. Not just a complete like we're gone, goodbye, we're walking away, doing other things. It's still kind of those people will be involved in the business.
How many people have ever had to shut down a brand and then restart it again, like a couple months later? They're probably the only. Michael's probably the only person. Michael and Brendan are probably the only two people who've ever had to do that like this before.
Yeah.
Or if they're one of the few. So, they had things that in September 3 years ago they were clearing out their inventory. They were clearing inventory out.
Yep.
And now they had to start production back up again, form a new district. It was. It wasn't gonna. They weren't gonna turn a switch on overnight with it. So, Michael's out there. I mean, I see him out there doing a lot of events too. So he is hustling. This guy.
Oh, he is. He is. The one good thing about that is he's been in the business a long time, so people already know who he is. He's using the same names that people already know. People still know Timeless and Metropolitan, so it's like you kind of it's still hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but the advantage he has is he's still using the same names, so to speak, right? So it's like it's not that hard to sell people on. And I believe all the cigars are still being made at the same factories they were made with Nat Sherman, so it's like
absolutely
everything's kind of the same. It's just now he's basically running Nat Sherman in a sense, not literally, but in a
Parts
sense.
of Nat Sherman, I guess.
He's kind of like running the next chapter of what Nat Sherman would be by himself with Brendan. So not having a big company, it's them doing it. I mean, they have Davidoff, facilitating some of it too, which helps. But it's not easy, but they're making it work.
And to my knowledge, again, I don't go that far back. To my knowledge, Herklots was the one that spearheaded the creation of a lot of those brands to begin with. So it's not like he was almost the creator of them. Obviously, his names weren't on them directly, but he was there putting in a large amount of the input to create them. And like I said, he almost had this like. He probably felt that he had this. He had to keep the brands around, So,
I know this may sound easier said than done, though. But how much of a jumpstart would it be if Michael created Timeless Maduro? It would totally jumpstart that end of that brand. I think more. I think Timeless Maduro, because I think people like Timeless. They like the Metropolitans. Metropolitans were the stuff before Michael got there. The Timeless stuff mostly is his stuff now.
Right.
But how much would that like jumpstart it. Like you just come out with a broadleaf version of Timeless or something like that. It would. I think it would totally put some juice into the brand, right? Those brands right now. I think sometimes you just need to do that. I don't think you need to create a ton of new lines, but maybe one or two. Introduce a couple. I think now is a point where you have the Ferio Tagos, which are annual limited releases, but I think you need to do something now to keep the brand name awareness up, and maybe that will jumpstart some of the others, maybe that are moving a little slower is what I'm saying. And I don't know what his numbers are, so I can't comment. But I could see Timeless, in particular, really needing that little shot right now.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see
Sure.
what he really does next. I mean, granted, I think right now it's just getting the company started, getting it all back out there, building the traffic back up. Like I said before, it's a new company, but the brand names people know. It's more, I think, just reestablishing. And to be honest, there's retailers I know who didn't want to do business with Nat Sherman because of Altria. And as soon as Michael started Ferio Tego, they were back in. They carry Timeless now. So, I mean, it's also getting it back into retailers who want the brands but didn't want to work with Altria, which has been great for them too.
And you and I know one. In
Yes,
particular. And
yep.
this guy's credit. The day Michael started Ferio Tego, this guy brought him right back in.
So the day Altria bought Nat Sherman, he said, "I'm out. Can't do it." And then when Michael said, "I'm doing it," I'm back in.
Yep, it was that simple. And I don't want to. I don't know. This person might have said it, and I don't want to say it because I'm not sure if it was public. But
Yeah. I get it.
But this person had legitimate reasons. It wasn't that he just he hated Altria for the sake of hating Altria. He had business reasons why he didn't want to do with Altria.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
very smart reasons too. I mean, I can't blame
smart reasons, good reasons. So, and it was never about I don't think it was never about Michael personally, which was the best part about that.
No.
Yeah, and and I think that just goes to show, that even though at one point, that retailer couldn't do business with them because of that reason, but the second that entity wasn't involved anymore, it was like, well, I can jump back in because, excuse me, I know you and I know those brands. I care. I want to obviously support you because we care about you and we want to give you the business. It's very easy to jump back in. And I think that's great.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's the only one that I really know the whole story with. I'm willing to bet that there's probably several more in that same situation.
Yeah, and then there's several who did stick it out with Altria because of Michael, because they had that much trust in him.
Right.
That they said, all right, we're going to keep this going because we really like you. And, I think they were rewarded, obviously when they came back. Not rewarded, I'm just saying it was easier for them to bring those in because they stuck with them through and through, so, which is good.
Well, we're also seeing that it's 3-2 Vegas right now in the third period.
For Florida. Yep, in the Stanley Cup Championship.
I know the Magic City people are getting a little excited. Oh, maybe we can even this out. Where's Willie Morante tonight?
It's the refs.
It's the refs. Yeah, they're not winning right now because of the refs. Yeah, I know. The refs block the puck from going in the net.
The refs. It's the refs.
Jay Davis, Fuente closed its doors for 12 years and then restarted their company in the 1950s. Also true.
Chogui disappears and comes back. Go figure that.
Huh?
Chogui cigars.
Yeah.
You see that thing from post? Guy disappears, vanishes, right? And now he's back in the business. Go figure that. I mean, no one can find this guy. And now he's just a claim. I read that press release. I love Mike, but I almost laughed at that press release. This guy's like a claim blender. Come on. Just stop. Guy disappeared. Guy vanished. And then I didn't even know he was back with another distribution company. So it was new. Then he rejoined. Mike used to have my Postani. Then the guy disappears, and then I was told he was back with another distribution company, which I didn't really even realize it. And then Mike got him back again. So I don't know what happened there, but anyone could come. I mean, I mean, the guy looked like you could just vanish, like vanish. The guy just vanishes. I don't know how you just vanish. I understand personal things could happen, right? But hey, if something personal happens, it takes 5 minutes to put an Instagram post up saying we got to just put things on hiatus. We're having some issues, and be done. And people understand that, but to just disappear is bad. And I see a lot of small companies do that in this business, and I think it's bad. You remember Barracoa with Danny Vasquez? He leaves, comes back, and then disappears again.
Yeah,
So,
there's definitely been a small group of people who have disappeared, resurfaced, and then a lot of times even disappear again.
There's small companies who have done it right, saying, "Look, we've had to put things on hold, and or we're shutting down." And we just saw Mambacho. At least they came out and they said, "Hey, we're ending this. It's ending." Like they could have just quietly transitioned to Jared's new company. They didn't do that. They made a statement saying they're shutting down on that, and I give a company credit for being transparent like that. Yeah.
Not to really pivot on the subject, but I wanted to bring up something that I thought was interesting. We talked a little bit about this on our show with the boys from How About That Cigar on our regular Smokin Tabacco show. As you know, it's PCA time. It's pregame season. We are getting tons of announcements of stuff coming to PCA, and one that I thought was interesting. And Coop, I really want to get your opinion on this because we haven't really talked about it. The latest celebrity cigar has been announced, and it's an interesting one. And that is Chaz Palminteri to release a Bronx Tale cigars with Epic Cigars. Dean Parsons.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that one?
I said this morning on KMA. The bar has been set with Guy Fieri now on how to do this.
Yep.
Everything's going to pale to how, because look at what Guy's done, right? So on the surface, I like Chaz Palminteri. I like the fact he's getting involved in the cigar industry. I love the fact he's working with Dean Parsons. I think Dean is one of the best guys in the business. He makes some fantastic cigars. But it's a $20 cigar they're coming out with. So I don't know what is their plan with this. Is my question. Are they gonna just maybe do a quick hit on Chaz's name and be done with it? Or are they really looking to say Chaz is going to have some sort of involvement deeper? Because ultimately, if he's not going to be involved with this deeper, it's going to be a very short-lived project that's going to happen. But, I always like the fact that someone from a mainstream celebrity gets involved with the industry and all that. I think all the right people are working on this, but it's still a $20 cigar also, is keep in mind.
And Chaz is going to be at the show for the first 2 days.
Yes, Chaz. That booth is probably gonna be busy. Good for Chaz for going to the show, by the way. We were talking about this with Scott Pierce the other night. It's very good when you have a Chaz Palminteri in there, and I think he's one of the guys. I think he's older. By the way, he's much older. I think he's about 70, so he's not a young guy. I know. Like I said, I know Armand Asante. I've interviewed him, but I love Armand, but Armand the Death he kind of came in and left. Didn't really stick with it, so didn't have good distribution. Now Dean's got good distribution through Xander Gregg, so he's got a strong. One thing that Chaz has going for him is Xander Gregg has got a strong distribution network, and I think Dean sold the company was probably a smart move by Dean, because he still maintains control of his brand. He's got a good distribution arm. He works for the distribution arm. So I think, but ultimately, if Chaz is not kind of doing a road tour with this, I don't think this is going to be a very long-lived project, unfortunately. And that's just reality. Is some other people competing with right now.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with, Guy Fieri being the kind of the bar. I mean, what he's done and the success that Espinosa has been able to have with
the best success story. Yeah. Best success story ever in the industry as a celebrity.
It's funny, Matt.
I think Ortiz did good, but I think Guy lapped him. I got to be honest with you.
I was just gonna say Matt had actually brought up, and I agreed to. The Big Poppy line with David Ortiz has been still pretty successful. They've expanded on it. They've done firecrackers with two guys. They've done some things with it. It's been good. I don't think it definitely hasn't blown up the way the Knuckle Sandwich has, but when you compare it to all the other celebrity collabs, it's way ahead of most of them.
Yeah.
I would consider it successful. I mean,
Yeah.
do you remember the Karl Malone, um, the Ray Lewis cigar, the Jeremy Piven
Yeah.
cigar that didn't even get any
I'll give you
buzz?
Jeremy Piven didn't want to be involved with it. I mean, it was like he wanted his name on a cigar and that was it. I'll give you a guy who actually I think I'm not saying he did a great job, but he did a decent job. Was Gary Sheffield. But that cigar was launched over 10 years ago. But Gary did do some events. He did some road tours. He was at a Great Smoke. He even let me interview him on an iPad at IPCPR. Super nice. By the way, super nice guy, Gary Sheffield. I love him. He actually remembered I interviewed him and everything. It was really nice. And he had the cigars. He used to bring the cigars on TV for his post-game show. So I mean,
Yep.
but it wasn't the same involvement. Again, it wasn't nothing's coming close to what Guy Fieri has done. It is revolutionized how you bring a celebrity into this industry. And the shocking thing, Matt, is I'm shocked that. Well, I should say Abe said it's not shocking, but you would think that someone else would try to follow that blueprint. But as Abe pointed out, it's not easy to get people to follow that blueprint. You know, you're dealing with celebrities here, so I understand it. You know, but Eric and Hector were able to do it here. So
I think the biggest difference between any of these things, and even not even to just categorize it into celebrity, but successful brands, is Guy Fieri. He is genuinely interested and genuinely excited to be part of it, and he promotes it in every way, shape, or form he can. That's so whether he's a celebrity or not, he, like, just the other day I sent you guys a message. I had a cigar with my dad, and I walk in and my mom's sitting there watching Guy Fieri on the TV and look at what shirt he's wearing.
Yeah.
It's unlike anyone, even within the industry, is doing. He is reaching out and gaining an audience, or even putting in the effort more than even just some brand owners. It feels like sometimes, he's engaging with media. He's engaging outside. He's engaging with fans of all facets, and he's excited to be a part of it, even though he is such an immensely busy person. And he loves cigars, and he wants it to be successful.
You know, Mitchell, I didn't mention this to you when you sent that, but my mom, my 76-year-old mom, has tuned into one podcast of mine, and it was the KMA one with Guy Fieri. That's the only time she's ever tuned in. Oh no, I'm lying. She tuned, but I told her about Armand. I had told her about the Armand one, so she did watch the Armand one. But the one she actually tuned into live was the KMA one. So yeah.
So that's
you're
like
right.
I said,
That's the reach. That's the reach this guy has. Right. That's the reach this guy has.
And the genuine care and effort that he's putting into just promoting it, right? And like I said, there's you were just saying about even some small brands. They release the cigar, you see an Instagram post, a Facebook post, and then you don't even see like a word about the cigar from this brand owner for like 2 months, and it's like guys, just tell share a cigar that someone posted this cigar, share it, like do more.
Yeah.
Just do a little bit more, and he's doing much more than anyone has ever done. So
Yeah.
And he cares, and like I said, he genuinely seems excited about it.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's I got a chance to meet him last summer. I didn't understand what all the hubbub was about him. Like, he puts on his pants like I do, right? But I get it. I mean, he guys touches people in such a way that, I don't mean physically, but kind of connects with people.
Good save.
Yeah.
Good save. He
Good
touches
save,
people.
Good save, Coop.
He's a diddler. No.
But but he connects with people in a way that, like, Bear uses this expression, like you've known him for 5 years. Like when you have a conversation with him, you feel like you've known this guy for 5 years. And Bear says that a lot about Manuel Casada, and he's right. That's why Manuel's got such a connection with people. But Guy is the same way. You feel like you've known this guy for 5 years.
I think the most important thing out of all of this is that Guy Fieri doesn't like eggs. just like you.
Oh, absolutely. By the way, I didn't know that story because I didn't really know much about Guy Fieri, and Bear set me up when we met him about this. Bear had this whole thing planned out, right? And I was just like, and we ended up hugging each other. It was kind of funny. Like, oh, yeah, we're kindred spirits, you know?
It's still weird.
It's funny watching his shows, and he goes to a breakfast place, and he straight up just like half the time won't even touch the eggs.
Like
Good man.
Eggs
Good
is
man.
Like, it's like a core food group. I mean, and it's used for so many things.
I mean, obviously, you went for French toast over cheesecake at, for it. So I get it.
First of all, it wasn't French toast; it was Cinnabon. All right, and
But you had French toast. You had French toast at the Junior's.
At the restaurant.
Did you not? Yeah, you ordered French toast,
Did
and
I?
you opted to get a Cinnabon.
Oh, yeah, maybe I did. I don't know. It's funny.
But
You
listen,
remember more
I'm
about
gonna
what
get-
I eat at restaurants on my vacations than I do.
Listen, Matt. I picked on Matt about this. He took it like a true professional, and then when everyone else picked on him, he realized he was the error of his ways. And we will be getting Matt a Junior's cheesecake. I can assure you at some point. So,
It's you know why
because I
you know
want Matt.
you know why it's okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you finish your thing, but I just want to say the reason why is because I know. First of all, how many times have I gotten on your case about Gabe Kapler, Matt LaFleur, and I know that eventually you're going to fuck up again, and I'm just going to have something on you, and it's just round and round we go. So it's like, I take the loss now, but then I get one later, and that's how the
I
play
forget
the
how
game.
I forget how I commented. Did I say, "Hey, how is the cheesecake?" And you gave me "What cheesecake?" And then I tell him, and how am I supposed to know? But then Barry gets involved. Like now, when Barry and I agree, Barry and I don't agree a lot. But when Barry and I are on the same page, we're right.
Yeah, guys all who lived in New York. I grew up in Boston. We don't have that here. How am I supposed to know?
Well, I'll even give you something. In fairness, Matt, Barry and I are Brooklyn, and Junior's actually started in Brooklyn. So
Yeah, see? And then you guys are like, oh, I don't know. Like, I grew up in Boston, not Brooklyn. Why would I know?
It's become famous. Yeah.
To be fair, in the picture, I think
honestly, I will say this: if you go back there, or if you get it, I guarantee you will say, "Wow, I understand why this is the best cheesecake in the world." I mean, honestly, because I'm not. Some cheesecakes are just average. Okay, theirs is next level. Is what I'm just gonna say.
I think on the placemat it even says world's famous cheesecake.
I knew
Yeah,
that I
I
had
remember-
cheesecake there, but I just didn't think like it was that big of a deal.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, whatever.
There was a big bet in the Stanley Cup playoffs. This is going back to the 90s between Mayor Giuliani of New York and Ed Rendell of Philadelphia. And they bet, I believe they bet Junior's. I know Giuliani bet if the Flyers win, he'll send Junior's cheesecake. And Rendell, I'm pretty sure it was one of the cheesesteak places. I don't remember what it was. And the Flyers won the series. And I happened to be at the broadcast when the Junior's cheesecake was sent because they were doing a live remote at the Philly station that week, and they gave us all pieces of cheesecake in the crowd and everything. But Giuliani had sent the cheesecake that day there, which was really cool, paying off his bet. So
Alan Rubin said the best
Nice.
cheesecake is at Bobby Flay's Amalfi at Caesar's Palace.
it's not Junior's. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. I haven't had it, right? But
I haven't had it. But
you're not getting it. This is New York. This is New York cheesecake, Alan. You're not getting New York cheesecake in Vegas. I'm sorry. You're just not. I mean,
For me,
it reminds me of that
whenever-
episode of Entourage when I think it was like the first season. Because you remember, for those who hadn't seen Entourage, the four main characters grew up in Queens. So they're New York Queens guys.
Yep.
Now they're in Los Angeles. And I just remember them all complaining that they didn't have H&H bagels and what is it? The Don Pepe's pizza, the white clam pizza or whatever. And they were bitching about it. And
Frank
Pepe, yeah. And then Turtle orders them like a bunch of H&H bagels. He started with he got them like California Pizza Kitchen and he got some other bagels, and they were like, this isn't New York. What is this? And he's like, really? It's a bagel. And I just remember Drama being like, no, it's not the same. He's like, the Jews in New York import the water from Fairfax for the whole thing. and then in the
will
end, they
say-
get the H&H bagels, and they're all excited.
I will say, South Florida, Brooklyn Water Bagels is the closest I've had to New York. I took Ben there, and Ben was like, and Ben has had New York bagels, and he agreed with me. This was the closest thing he ever had to a New York bagel. They have a place called Brooklyn Water Bagel. They're in the Palm Beach, Broward County area. Incredible. And I think they import the water. I actually think that's what they do, or they filter it just the same.
I remember hearing that. I'm like, is that true? And then I remember like just being in discussion. People were like, no, like they take bagels seriously in New York. And I'm like,
They do.
apparently
They really do. We used to go to Uncle Bobby's Bagels in Brooklyn. That was the place we went to, and we drive over the bridge from Staten Island. We moved there, and you'd have to get there. You get there 5:30 in the morning when they were fresh and hot, and that was. They would make their own cream cheese on premises. You get some of the fresh lox, smoked salmon, and But yeah, bagel places were very. I still think the small mom and pop bagel places are still the best bagel places in New York. The big chains just haven't done it. They can't compete with those mom and pops.
Isn't H&H Bagels where Kramer worked too?
Yeah, I think cheesecake. I don't
Was
know
it
if
H&H?
some of it. There are some cheesecakes that don't have eggs in it. I know that for a fact. My wife.
What's your favorite bagel toppings?
For me, it's smoked salmon, all the way. And
I was gonna say.
yeah, smoked salmon.
Just the smoked salmon, or with the cream cheese?
No, with the cream cheese, some smoked
Okay.
salmon, some onions in there,
Capers.
and a slice of capers. The capers are key, yeah. Whitefish is really good on a bagel too. The whitefish is really good on it.
I don't like
My-
fish.
My dad does some homemade gravlax, and we'll get some bagels and some nice cream cheese, and oh man, nothing.
See now, Vancouver or British Columbia lox. Now you guys have the British Columbia lox. Like a lot of
Yeah.
lox in New York comes from Nova Scotia. That's where they tend to get most of the
Mm.
lox flown in. But I imagine you guys have that British Columbia lox out there.
Yeah, dude,
Now,
our
there
salmon
a
is.
bagel. Kevin,
I was
there
gonna
is
say-
a bagel place I've heard. There is a pretty authentic bagel place in Vegas. I forget the name of it.
Oh,
But I
Kevin
went
will
there,
know.
and it's
Kevin will know.
Jay Davis, see, he knows. I didn't get a chance to have Jay. When Jay was in New York with me, I didn't get a chance to take him for bagels. I would have loved to have done that. But Victoria from Victoria from STG.
Yeah.
So she organized we went to the farms up in Connecticut, and we all met in New York, like because everyone flew into New York and stayed in New York the first night. And then she arranged to get these what's called Esta bagels, which are really good for all of us. Like took custom orders for us, like if whatever you wanted on your bagel.
Really?
And I think I was with Ben back then, and Ben was just like, oh man, like when these bagels were next level bagels that we had. And Victoria, like I said, she took care of everybody on that trip. I didn't get lox on. I wasn't gonna be bold enough to order a lox bagel. That wasn't, that wouldn't have been right. But I'm just telling you, I ate the bagel with just cream cheese, and it was fantastic.
Kevin said it's bagel mania.
That's it. Yep.
Yep.
I think. Yep.
You know what? I don't
It's off the strip.
I remember last year at the trade show, Matt had a bunch of bagels and cream cheese in the back of his booth where the stripper pole was, and I remember I went back there with him, and he's like, "You want to eat something?" And I was like, "What do you got?" He had this like big tub of cream cheese. He had bagels. I'm like, "Oh yeah," and they were good.
Was that when you did that de-stress you at that point? Was that when you were kind of having a meltdown?
Yeah. Yeah, Matt came
I
came
never
out back
saw
and he was
Matt-
like, "You want a bagel?" I was like, "Yeah, I do."
I never saw Matt Tobacco as completely unraveled. What do you mean? He's like, and I knew he was just having a bad day, and it was like, and
I was looking down
and he's like on the floor, right? You were on the floor doing something, and there's a stripper pole, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just, you were dealing with an equipment issue, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that was also when Nicole was sick, so now I'm like,
yeah.
I'm 2 days into the trade show. I'm down to myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I gotta cover this trade show by myself. I'm like, oh man. And it was panic.
yeah.
And then so then Matt comes back. We're eating bagels, and then he disappears. And just as I'm like almost ready to wrap up, but I'm still like stressed out. And he that's when he came back in the frenzy, and he's like, I gotta hide all the cigars. And I'm like, what? He's like, I need you to help me. I'm like, what do you need? He's like, I need you to hide all the cigars under the table. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, are you getting an inspection? He goes, I think so. And then he left. And I'm like, And he pops back. He's like, pull everyone's shit out. I don't care. Just dump the boxes out. Just dump them under the table and put everyone's shit on top of it. I'm like, all right. And then he came back like 2 minutes later. He had all the gin and all. He's like, just hide all this too. And I'm like, I'm trying to put out my own fire right now, but I'm like,
Yeah. And by the way, Matt Booston never offered me a bagel. By the way, I just want to be on the record. I was at the booth. Never was offered a bagel from Matt Booth. Never was offered a cup of coffee from Justin. I mean,
well, I guess you just get on that level with those guys.
I mean, listen, I'm like, anyway, I'm kidding on that because those guys are awesome to me. Justin and we kid Justin a lot, but they're awesome. They're awesome people. So, that's the bagels. That's the place. Yeah, and yeah.
How do we get
right by the convention center? Yep, it's right by the convention center, Kevin. That's where because we were staying out a little east of the convention center. That's where we went. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's always, and that's the thing about the trade show. There's alcohol to drink, there's food to eat, and there's, I mean, outside of, there's other things to consume on that trade show floor if you know where to look.
Yeah. Well, there's gonna be a new road trip this week. When I go out to Vegas. Jay kind of reminded me of a place called Wiener Schnitzel on his recent travels.
Okay.
Which is a West Coast hot dog chain. I'm not gonna say they're the best hot dogs in the world, but it's kind of one of those crack things that, and there are Wiener Schnitzels in Vegas. So I'm gonna be out there a couple of days early, and I will definitely be making a Wiener Schnitzel run this year. Jay, you're welcome to come with me. Even better, Barb could get Kevin and Barb to bring or whatever they could bring.
Oh man, I'm already excited because I'm like, that's right. I forgot. I have people on the ground over there.
If you guys want to come out to the media compound in the morning, we're actually going to be a little far from them, unfortunately. But we're staying south of the strip this year, so it's a little more difficult.
Kevin, I want an everything bagel.
Yeah, you're definitely.
I want an everything bagel, cream cheese and lox, toasted, obviously. So we'll make it happen.
You don't want it toasted if the bagels are still warm. And that's always a key thing when you go to a bagel shop, right? So I would say they'll tell you, hey, the bagels have been sitting there for a couple hours. They're probably not. But if they're hot, you don't want to get it toasted because that's when they're the best.
That's
when
true.
Come
that's
right
true.
In there. Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
Good point. But if they're there for a couple hours, I toasting it's great. And I usually say lightly toasted is what I'll tell them to do at that point. So you can still get that softness in the middle.
Yeah. So Coop, I assume. Jay Davis, don't forget the onions and tomatoes. All right, I would do onions and tomatoes. Capers, I'm out. I'm not a big fan of capers. I just don't love them. But
not for everybody.
The onions and tomatoes, I would do that.
Oh, you get some Bermuda onion on it. Oh,
I would do that.
Yeah, when we were up in New York, I tell you what, my kids hadn't had bagels for years, and there was a place called Bagel Oasis we took them to, and they were just they just realized how much they missed New York. So,
I forget what I was going to ask you because we got way.
I'm sorry,
topic.
I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. No, that's okay. There's no interrupting on this show. It's just it's an open floor plan. William Cooper, Las Vegas, home of the $20 waffle. Yeah,
we're gonna eat so much food.
I don't eat. Las Vegas is home of the $40 waffle.
Yeah, $40.
Guy orders a $40 one. Yeah, you had a room service and tip.
And tax.
Dirt Dog, I'm there, Kevin. I'm there with Dirt Dog, man.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, so Coop, I imagine that Eggs Benedict for you would be a nightmare.
It's not even an option. So funny story, okay? And if I'm digressing, just stop me, okay? So Bear's got a heart of gold, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
He says to everybody, hey guys, I want to take you guys for breakfast at Paris, right? And he's talking about this breakfast, right?
Oh, here we go.
And I'm like, Bear.
We get ready to defend.
I appreciate it, but I don't really like breakfast food. There's not much for me to do that. I take the other guys. He's like, no, yeah, they have bagels and lox. You got to come, right? And I'm like, beautiful. So I order the bagels and lox, and how do you think they serve the bagels and lox? With chopped hard-boiled egg on it.
You must have panicked.
And
now,
I want to make a beat.
Yeah, it was. And Bear felt horrible. And I'm like, Bear, don't send it back or anything. I just kind of ate around it. It's what I did because I didn't want to send it back, right? And I'm like, no, please don't do it. He felt horrible. I'm like, Bear, it's not your fault. You didn't know I know you do. I know you didn't know there were eggs on it. But they gave. I never had it with chopped. I never had a bagel like that with chopped eggs before. That's what they had on there.
I mean, I'd probably love that, but yeah.
You guys would probably love it. And the box was great. The bagel was pretty good. I'll give him that. But yeah, those eggs just kind of killed it for me.
We're going there Friday morning.
But it's very untraditional. Like, I've never heard of ordering bagels with lox and an egg coming on it. Like, that's
no. I would never have known that either.
No.
It didn't even say it on the menu. In fairness, okay, it didn't even say it on the menu.
Yeah, that's
and that's why I said, Bear, it's not your fault. And Bear was like, he wanted to he treated everyone to this. You don't have to treat everyone to this, Bear.
It's a French
and
restaurant.
Like,
maybe it's a French thing.
Maybe I
don't think so, man.
Look, I gotta say the coffee was fantastic there. They had some croissants that were really good. So Bear did a good job on that. But yeah,
dude, the crepes there are amazing. I love the crepes there.
Yeah,
and
then
crepes.
One year when the fire happened, and we had to go to the show late. Aaron's like, hey, let's all go to breakfast, right? And I was doing a KMA radio spot that morning, right? So I said, hey, go find some place. And where do they go? They go to the Egg and I, or they go to some place called the Egg and I. I get in there like, fuck, it's all eggs, right? They had burgers, right? And the burgers were freaking good. The burger was really good, and there was no egg on it either. So I was like, everyone else is eating eggs. I'm eating this burger at like 9 in the morning. So,
I mean, so I guess you wouldn't want to go to Egg Slut.
Absolutely not.
There's a place called Egg Slut.
Mitchell,
have you heard of that?
We're going to Wiener Schnitzel. I can tell you that. Or Bad Dog.
Oh, Wiener Schnitzel sounds good, man. I love a good dog, man.
And we know
I love a good Wiener.
And we know Coop's going to go to In-N-Out because he has to go there at least twice while he's in town.
I don't think I've ever been to In-N-Out.
You've never been In-N-Out?
No.
Coop's going to make me make that happen for you.
Yeah, we got to do.
There's a lot of those American chains I've never been to.
Mitch, are you staying like a day after like you did last year?
I was trying to, but
I was just saying because I'm doing the same thing again this year. Oh, because we had a good time there. Was with Mitch and his. Yeah.
You guys are like waiting to see who goes next.
No,
Mitchell, you go.
I'm not. I got to. Because the next week I'm going back down to Seattle to watch the Jays versus the Mariners. So I had to cut this trip short, so I could add time to go see the Jays. So with my dad. So.
Oh, good. That's good. That's great. You've been to that stadium. That's one of the best stadiums I ever went to, by the way.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
I went there in 2000, so
that'd be
probably
cool.
In diapers. You were young. Yeah. You guys were youngins back then.
I wasn't in diapers.
I was married with my fourth kid on the way when I went. So.
Me and Mitchell were like 7 or 8 years old when that happened. We weren't that young.
2000.
How young do you think we are?
You're both Mitchell. You're over 30. Are you over 30?
I'm 30. I'll be over 30 in a couple months.
Okay, so you are the same age as my daughter. 92 you were born in?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're the same age as my daughter, yeah. And Matt, you're younger than my daughter. I think you're older than my oldest son.
Do you know how old I am? I know.
You're gonna be 30, aren't you? Gonna be 30 this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I figured. Yeah, so you're 90. Yeah, my daughter was born in 92.
I'm 93.
She has the same birthday as Michael Jordan, actually.
Oh,
wow.
It's a good birthday.
Yeah. And then Timmy, my oldest son, same birthday as Larry Bird. Yep, December 7th. And my youngest son, Steven, October 20th. He has got Mickey Mantle's birthday.
Wow, look at that.
Peter, my other son, I don't think has a famous athlete with it that I can remember. But yeah, there's
empty net. Minute 20 left. 3-2 Vegas. It's now or never.
By the way, what a great story Vegas has been. I mean, they've been the best team in the playoffs by far this year.
I told Kevin, I go championship parade down Las Vegas Boulevard. Epic.
It will be, you know what? And they've supported that team in Vegas from the beginning, even when they had a couple of down parts. They haven't been terrible, but you know that city's stuck with that team. They're good. They did a really good job welcoming that sport. That was the first big professional sports franchise to go there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's been a success. The Raiders. I mean, we'll see if they can put some good team on the field.
I
I
you know,
think they
now
can.
Tom Brady owns the team. Part of the team now.
And yeah, they got some
Which I think,
Patriots people
and I
there.
bet he's going to be more involved. I think he'll be more involved than people think.
Yeah.
I don't want to say he'll be making football decisions or business, but I think he'll have input into the direction of the franchise. I don't think he bought it just to sit back and be a silent owner.
I agree.
Yep.
I hope that they do something good. And with the A's, I don't know. Maybe it'll be better when they move.
I don't see them making Tom Brady the GM at all. I don't see him wanting to be, but maybe a executive vice, president, something where he's got some input into the direction of the team.
I think even just having his name around and giving that moral support to the team, like, if he shows up to some practices, he's there,
Yep.
Working with people. I think that really inspires a lot of sports athletes. Like,
Yeah.
You think of like these like towns that have these dynasties, and it's like the players go there expecting to be at the level of this dynasty. Now they have someone who's, considered one of the greatest of all time, and he's a part of this, right? And so now that pressure is almost just automatically put on you to become part of that.
Yeah. He is not going to be doing the TV anytime soon, from what I understand.
I thought he was going to start in
24,
25. Is he pushing it off now?
I don't know, but I heard it was pushed off, but I don't think it's been ruled out. But I think there is some rule that he can't do the TV. He shouldn't be doing the TV either.
Yeah, if he doesn't have an ownership stake, he
It's
shouldn't be.
I mean, it's bad enough we have Tony Romo doing Cowboy games and rooting for the Cowboys, right? So,
oh my God! Shut up, Tony Romo.
Well,
someone needs to just slap him in the face.
I mean, seriously, he doesn't need to be doing. Yeah, I mean, it's just. One thing about Madden is when he was doing Raiders games, he never rooted for the Raiders.
And it's like the same with NASCAR. They got Jeff Gordon, who is a major part of Hendrick Motorsports, and he's doing color commentary at NASCAR races, and he's unbearable to listen to. It's just like, shut up, Jeff Gordon. My God. He says the most ridiculous crap. Be like, oh, there's a caution here. These guys are coming in for tires. It's like, yeah, no shit. Like, like he said, like he's like Captain Obvious. It's like, yeah, no shit.
The greatest NASCAR announcer of all time was Benny Parsons. I mean, Benny was just larger than life. People would go out and give him free food. It was kind of his joke. And Benny Parsons, there was no one who called a NASCAR race better than Benny Parsons.
I mean, DW was pretty good.
One of the great. Oh, Darrell Waltrip?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. I like Darrell. My dad liked Darrell a lot too, doing races. He was a big Darrell guy. He liked Bobby Unser too, who was doing IndyCar.
Yeah. I'm just checking this. It looks like they got 18 seconds left to go. Looks like Vegas is going to go 3-1. Wow.
Boy.
Wow.
20. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's 3-1 Denver, right? In the other game, in the other series.
It's 3-1 Denver. Boy. Yeah. By the way, just a comment on that Denver Miami. Who did the TV schedule? Why are there no Denver Miami games on over the weekend? I know they have travel days and all, but they could have structured the schedule to get a weekend game in.
I know.
That's ridiculous. Bad job by ABC on that. I'm going to say that. And the NBA. I'm going to blame
game over.
Both.
3-2 final. Vegas 3-1.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Vegas is winning. Vegas is winning this year.
Well, you never know.
Hopefully.
The refs.
You never know.
Maybe the refs. You never know in the Stanley Cup.
You never know. It's not over till it's
By the
over.
way, what a great run by the Florida Panthers. You can't take anything away from them. They've beaten some great teams along the way to get there. I mean, they beat that Boston team, which was an unbelievable team, and we'll be back, by the way, that Boston team.
Oh yeah.
So they may not have set a record for points, but I think they're going to be better built. You see sometimes these teams the second year they're better built for the playoffs, like Florida was this year.
Yeah, I think they'll be back. Hopefully, right? I have to say that. I mean, I want to say that. I should say. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a surprise to see Florida beat them in the first round. That was definitely a surprise. Yeah, there it is, official 3-1.
Yep.
3-1 Vegas. Wow. Now this goes back to Vegas, right? So they could win this at home.
Yeah.
Because now it's game 5.
Parades in the
So-
streets.
Oh man, Kevin.
Casinos will be happy.
But-
Kevin,
Yeah, I mean-
Kevin, you guys have to figure out what your thing's going to be in Vegas because you guys have never done this before. You have to figure out, they got the pots and pans in Miami and all that ruckus. Philadelphia, they climb all the poles. What's the Vegas thing going to be? What's
I've been to one championship parade, and it's probably a team no one ever heard of, but it was a big deal. When South Carolina won the College World Series, my daughter was a freshman there, and we went down for the parade, and it was a big deal down there, by the way. There was several 100,000 people in Columbia for that, so that was great when that happened.
So Kevin and Barbara are saying hell of a fight after time expires. Yeah, I can see that.
By the way, you know who's coaching the Vegas team, right?
Bruce Cassidy.
The guy was kicked
I
to the
know.
curb by the Bruins.
I know, and I still like. I kind of want him to win because of that to show
He's a good
like
coach. He's a good coach.
I
He's a
was
good-
like
he's a good coach.
I don't think that he really deserved that. It was like they held him responsible, but then here he is. He's about to win a Stanley Cup with Vegas.
Yeah, Monty did a great job. Monty did a great job for you guys. He's a good coach. He had some problems in Dallas that he had to get through. Personal demons he had to go, but I was in Dallas the night the Stars won the Stanley Cup in downtown Dallas, in a hotel room in downtown Dallas on a Friday night when they won it, and it was crazy. I could see people going out in the streets, partying, cars, jumping on cars and stuff like that. And I'm sitting in my hotel watching this from above.
Yeah, I was at Fenway for the 2013 World Series win when we actually won it at home. That was wild. That was crazy. Boston's definitely another one. We don't get too rowdy here, but that's definitely a.
I think sometimes it's always it's that city. I think every city's had problems, by the way.
Oh, it's not like
Um,
Vancouver, right,
you know,
Mitchell? You guys lost to us in 2011. You guys almost burned the city down. That was.
Yeah.
We did burn
Mi-
it, man. Dude, we've never won anything. I don't think.
The Whitecaps.
But
Mitchell, the Whitecaps, when they won the soccer championship, go watch the old video of that. There's like 600,000 people
Yeah.
on the streets and that
I
was
could
a
see
big they had that was big. And obviously for Vancouver, because that was a very well supported team in soccer.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
and that was-
really.
It beat the
much
it broke my heart.
anymore.
Broke my heart. That series.
But, we also- We also have a great game of CFL, Canadian Football League.
What's
We got
that?
the BC Lions.
What's that?
I like
got the
Canadian
BC
football.
Lions. It's football, but played in Canada. It's
There's
it's
some
it's
different
different.
rules.
It's
There's-
slightly.
I was being sarcastic, but yeah.
No,
we got-
I've always enjoyed
we've had a
watching the
good team.
Canadian teams. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Doug Flutie played there for a while.
The problem with the CFL is it's one of two things. If there's even a slightly decent CFL player, the NFL takes them. And then if there's like old NFL players that don't get contracts in the NFL, they get sent to the CFL sometimes. And so you just have like people that can't make the NFL stuck in the CFL. And yeah, the season's super short. But we've had our BC Lions have had some pretty good seasons. I think we've won it. I think they call it the Grey Cup. I think that's what they call it.
Grey Cup, yep. Yep.
Yeah, I think we've won it a few times. But
Yeah, you've won. You guys have had a good. I mean, they're usually a very competitive team. And there was a guy who didn't make it out of the NFL draft. And he went to play in Canada by the name of Warren Moon. And then Warren Moon came to the NFL and had a Hall of Fame career after that. So
there you go.
Marv Levy won some Grey Cups. I think Bud Grant won a couple of Grey Cups up there. So, this and like I said, Doug Flutie was a great story, and then eventually he came back to the NFL too.
What was I going to ask you guys about?
And we used to have an NBA team called the Grizzlies, but I don't think they won anything.
Yeah, that
did
was
they?
Oh, that's right. I
No,
forgot
they
about
didn't.
them.
They had really bad ownership was the problem. And the ownership was just, and then
Still the
someone
problem
bought
here.
the team and moved it to Memphis. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys had the
Yeah.
Expos.
You guys came in the same year as the Raptors.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a Grizzlies jersey and a Grizzlies hat when I was a kid, but yeah, it was only around I
No,
think 5 years.
Yeah, they were around. They weren't around too long. They drafted Bryant Big Country Reeves out of Oklahoma.
Oh
Who was pretty good for
yeah,
them. Then
Big
got hurt. Then he
country.
got hurt. Big Country, yeah. Then he got hurt. But yeah, the Grizzlies really didn't. They came in the same year as the Raptors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys also had the Expos too, which
Yeah, that was before my time.
is a shame.
That was a shame that Montreal lost the Expos. They were supported.
I know.
And they had ownership problems too. The old owners were really good. They were the growing up, our rivals in the NL East were the Expos as a Phillies fan. Every year we were in first. The Expos were battling us for first every year. They knocked us out in the playoffs during the strike year in '81 too. So and then they had the famous Expos team that had the best record, and another strike happened. So, and long history in Montreal with baseball. Dodgers had their farm team there forever. So it's a good baseball town. I'd like to see it get baseball back there.
Do you remember a couple years ago they were saying they were toying with the idea that Tampa Bay was gonna play half their season in Montreal,
Yep.
half it in Tampa.
That would have been a disaster for them, though.
It sounded like a disaster, but I kind of wish it happened just so I could see it happen. But
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Expos went to Washington, and it was, but by that point they were having stadium problems, and the ownership didn't. I think it was funding for the stadium was the issue. So
yeah, I know that was a big part of it too. They were playing at Olympic Stadium.
they had cool logo. The Expos logo was so cool.
It was cool.
That Expo.
That's where Pedro
yeah,
came from. Pedro, I think, was originally drafted by the Montreal Expos.
Yeah, I mean, there's some great players who played. Andre Dawson played there for a long time.
Didn't Vladimir Guerrero play there too?
I think so. I think he did. And Pete Rose played there 1 year.
Yeah, that's right.
After the Phillies, he went to the Expos for 1 year, and then he went back to the Reds.
That's right.
Pete Rose was up there for 1 year. Yep.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like after the A's get relocated and then they figure out a new ballpark for Tampa, they have toyed with the idea of expanding 2 teams. Maybe Montreal gets the team back. And I don't know what they're thinking.
I'm hearing Nashville. I'm hearing Charlotte's been considered. I've heard Portland. I don't know if they're going to go Canada or not. But Canada's been toyed around. But those are the 3 cities I've heard. I don't think Charlotte's ready for a baseball team. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think we have a downtown area that's really set up for it yet either. We don't have enough commerce downtown to make that happen. We don't. The hotel situation is decent. It's not great. Some things would have to happen. I just don't know if we would support 81 games in Charlotte either.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot more games.
Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see Major League Baseball in Charlotte. I mean, but I think Nashville may have the inner track here. And there's a story with the Phillies that Dave Dombrowski has an out of his contract if Nashville gets a team. That was part of the deal when he has an out. We know that. And he has that right to get out of his contract if Nashville gets a team.
Coop, did you still not get that mic fixed? I see you keep adjusting it. I remember you were saying
it just went again. I have a new mic actually. I just didn't use it tonight.
Oh, really?
So
I was gonna say that sucks.
Yeah, I just took the old one, but I took the old one by accident out of the cabinet. So
yeah.
This one's all adjusted too.
I was gonna say that there was a couple of cigar stuff that I didn't get to. We got really off topic tonight. Not that it was bad, but
yeah.
There
were a few. Yeah, but there was some interesting releases this week.
There was some interesting stuff. First of all, Drew Estate announced that their latest mystery cigar is the H99 Papas Fritas, which I've heard very mixed I've heard mixed opinions on. Some people love it, some people hate it. They think I don't know.
I smoked it this morning in KMA. It was good.
I thought it was good. It was a good
So-
cigar. It was especially in that size.
Yeah.
I like that little size.
I knew it was a Papas Fritas, right, for a couple of reasons. I actually pulled one apart, so I knew, and I saw the shape, and I pulled it apart.
Right.
But I didn't think it was an H99 because I said, well, they don't have the wrapper. I'm like, it's probably Herrera Esteli is what I was thinking.
I heard. Sorry, excuse me. I heard Herrera Esteli. Kevin actually thought it was gonna be an Undercrown. So I mean, I guess you're not too far off.
I was thinking Undercrown Sungrown maybe, but it didn't taste like Sumatra.
Yeah, but they're
they
also getting
discontinued Sungrown.
Yeah, they discontinued the Sungrown. But it also sounds like, when Nicole went to the Barn Smoker last year, and she went to the Connecticut one, I remember she came back and she was like, yeah, she's like, they were saying that, like, it's going to be a big year for Liga. They have a lot of that wrapper. And now we've seen them introduce several sizes in that H99. And remember,
A 60.
I know. Now, they got sizes in H99 that number 9 and T52 don't even have, which is very interesting. But they also, they don't make the Corona Doble in the H99 that the other two have.
Yep.
So far, so the other ones have what? They have a Toro, they have a Robusto.
Corona
They
Doble.
The Petit
Torpedo.
Corona, right? They got a Bellicoso. They got
yeah.
a Bellicoso. Corona Doble. Double
Corona
Corona.
Doble. Churchill. No, it's not Liga Churchill. It's not Liga
I don't
Churchill.
think there is. I think they just have that double Corona.
Yeah, I like that they did the 60. And now there's this pig now floating around too, right?
So there is
There's
a pig, and I believe I heard it's going to be at the Barn Smoker. I think you can only get it at the Barn Smoker.
Yeah, I think it's going to be in the Barn Smoker pack or something like that.
But they seem to really be running with H99 this year. I mean,
Yeah,
remember 2 years ago that was a cigar that you couldn't get, and now
No, they couldn't.
They've really expanded on that.
Yeah, we had Willie Herrera on this morning KMA, and I asked him about how he's very. It's obvious he's very happy. He wanted to really get this was his baby. This project was a lot of his. This was the Liga Parada he created.
Mm-hmm.
Those other ones, those came from Soccer and Malillo.
Right.
We could debate who did what, but this was Willie's baby, so I was really glad for him. And I know I've talked to him about that wrapper and how excited he was about it. So I was really glad. I was really glad to see that. He's a good guy, Willie, and he did it. I'm not the biggest. What's funny? You're gonna laugh at me. My favorite H99 size has been the Phineas Gage.
Really?
I have a review. Lancero. I think they knocked it out of the park with that.
Okay.
I told Willie that. I said I want to try the Super Ancho, but I'm telling you that Phineas Gage was really. When I went to the Barn Smoker last year, On and Joe Grow hooked me up with some of those, and I'm like, this is legit. Really good. It was actually, who actually gave me the first one was Bob the cigar guy. And Bob, Bob's a big Drew Estate guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna love everything. So but he's like, come on, have one with me. So I smoke with him. I'm like, Bob, this is freaking good. I'm like, you ain't kidding. He's like, yeah. I'm like, he goes, you're not a Lancero guy. I'm like, no, but this is an excellent Lancero.
I was gonna say it's so weird to hear you say that because you don't like Lanceros.
No, but I mean, I've given Lancero Cigar of the Year.
I know,
and
I
number
know.
2 cigar, but it's rare. I mean, and I've never given a 6x60 number 1 cigar of the year. Just as I had a 6x58 get it, but not a 6x60.
Now the Super Ancho, the 6x60, that's also right now I believe that's a Drew Diplomat only. Is that an event only right now?
Event only. It's the event only for this year.
So right now the only H99s that are really on full release, which I'm actually seeing them regularly now at retailers, are just the Toro and the Robusto.
Yeah. I have the Robusto review coming up. I think right before PCA it will come out of the Robusto. So I've reviewed the Toro, and I wasn't the biggest fan of the Toro. I'll be honest with you. It got like an 88 or 89. Wasn't I know Dojo gave it cigar of the year, but it wasn't my cup of tea. I mean that Toro, but again, we talked about this at the beginning of the show. Size matters with a cigar with me. So
It does. It does. And it's funny. I want to bring something up here. This is actually a very good point. So recently, the McAuliffe Black was is kind of soft released, right? I know Two Guys has it, Smokin has it, but it's getting its like really full launch at the trade show. I've
Yeah.
already smoked both sizes of it, and I've actually smoked a couple of the Toros. Coop, you haven't smoked it yet, right?
I have not smoked it yet.
Okay. I thought the
I'm
Toro.
gonna pick some up when I go to Florida. Yeah.
I thought the Toro was way better than the Robusto. Both are good cigars. I thought that, and in regards to just the Toro, when talking about the black, I've smoked a couple of them. Kevin smoked a couple of them. And so far, the consensus on our team is we really enjoy it. And we think it's, or at least I do. I don't know if I think Kevin agrees with this, but it might just be the best cigar McAuliffe has come out with so far. When I think about all the other cigars they have, not that the other cigars are not good, but just this one I probably enjoy the most and I'm probably the most excited about.
Well, I think they've been working on their tobacco. I mean, focusing on the getting tobacco, processing tobacco, and I think that was a big part of. I mean, this project Dan had told me about for a while. I knew about this project, but I know they wanted to wait for the timing right, and I think they wanted to wait till they had the tobacco ready as well to make this blend. So, and I think they've really worked on getting better and processing better tobacco at their factory. So I think that's going to be a big part of this. Why it's going to be. I'm expecting it to be an excellent cigar.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm very excited to see what you think because with you, it's usually like when I find a cigar that I really like and I'm like, all right, this is good. You either like agree with me or you go the other way. And then I'm like, wait, really?
And then I come back, and then they come
but
back.
Then you come back, and you're like, oh no, you were right. And I'm like, so, I don't know. I don't know. It could go either way with you.
Well, that's why I found that's why my reviews don't come out as quick. You probably won't see a McAuliffe Black review till the end of the year. It is eligible for Coop List since it got released in time.
Mm-hmm.
But typically, I go through a little more formalized aging. I consistently will age this stuff around the same amount of time. So. I tend to like to let my cigars settle a bit, so I'll smoke it off the truck. I get an impression of it, but I'll admit those Saka Cons, the ones that came from JR last year, were not as good as the regular Saka Cons that came out. And I'm not the only one who said it on my team. Nielsen said the same thing. He thought they were better when Saka released it nationally. So,
yeah. Well, I'm curious to see what you think.
Yeah.
I'm also curious to see how it performs on its sizes. So right now they only have the two sizes. I'd love to see what it tastes like in their Lanstre size. And I know Dan's listening. I know he's here. So I'm saying
don't do a Lancero, Dan. And please don't do a Lancero, Dan. Please don't.
I don't think McAuliffe makes any Lanceros.
They don't make a lot if they do. The McAuliffe guys would know that.
I was going to say, Dan, do you guys, or Alan, I know Alan's here too. Do you guys make a Lance? I don't think they do. I don't think they do.
Good people. Unless you get it right, unless they do it right. I mean, if you get one, probably you'll get a blend. But Landes is a 40 ring gauge, so it's not far off from a Lancero. And they've done good with the Landes sizes on some of those from the clutch, and I liked some of those that came out of that. So
Alan said we no longer make Lanceros.
Good company.
And then Dan said McAuliffe Lanceros in every blend, but only as a gift. So maybe they make them, but they're for private use. They're not official use. Okay. But yeah, no, I'd love to see it in that Lanstre size, and I know they came out the collector's set. So, and Dan, if you can or whatever, you guys came out with the collector's edition that had I think all of the core blends in that size. So. And I know that wasn't a one time. That's a continuous product. So, do you guys tweak that collector's edition to add the black in that size? Because that's something I'd be really curious about too. And I know maybe he probably won't say, but logically thinking, I mean, they would expand it to add that in there now, which I think would be interesting.
Yeah.
What do you got over there?
Me?
An A.
Oh, no.
No, it's not an A. It's the
okay.
medallion. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's the size.
Little Medallia SE.
That's a good
Yeah, these are
cigar
nice.
too. That's a really great
Yeah,
cigar.
but yeah, I'm really. I mean, I think the reaction we're seeing from people is very positive on this black, and people who like I know the ambassador community has gotten behind it, but I see people who aren't in the ambassador community really enjoying that cigar. Just from the folks that smoke in and two guys who I know and are about who have been trying that.
Dan
So that's a
Thompson,
good sign.
Dan said, I have no interest in building black as Lancero. May emerge as Landres and collectors.
Thank you, Dan.
That I could
Thank
see.
you, Dan.
That I could see, and
Thank
it
you.
makes sense because they already make that size in those other blends, so I could see that.
Yeah. 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 By the way, packaging came out beautiful on that pack. I mean, you've seen it up close already.
I have.
So, yeah. So, good job with that.
It's very different from all their other boxes and packaging. I mean, the band, I had one floating around here somewhere. The band is pretty much the same design as all the other bands. It's just black and gold versus the blue and red.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the box, sorry, I got like a chunk of tobacco in my mouth and just, sorry. It was like right there and it was distracting. So all their other stuff comes in just like that rustic, unfinished box with, the what do you call it? Like the branding, like the hut branding on it, with the inlay. The black box is matte finish, black with the gold, and it doesn't have a clasp on the front too. It's just one of those, just a straight lid that just kind of rests. And it's funny because when I was at the store when they did the event at Two Guys for the Two Guys launch, I was there, and Amanda was there, and Andy was there, and they had one of their reps there, and I forget who said. One of them said to me though, they actually got some inspiration from Matt Booth's boxes, designing that box. And thinking back, I'm like, yeah, it's very similar, in terms of the matte finish, the simplistic design. It makes me think of like Namakubi and some of his other like limited stuff he's done in that same style. I mean, of course, they didn't do the tissue paper and the paper wrap that Matt's known for too, but the box
I'm not a fan of that.
But the box is very
Yeah, I'm not a
similar,
fan.
and I thought it does pop, and I think it pops more on the shelf than the other boxes do.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, that was yeah. I mean, the other release that was announced this week was the new Davidoff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Davidoff been quiet on releases, so that was interesting to see.
Yeah, I didn't we talk about whether or not Davidoff would come out with a 10th anniversary Nicaragua? We might have mentioned. I think we mentioned it on a spare notes that this was the 10-year anniversary.
It might not have been a discussion topic, but it might have been like tossed out there.
We were talking about all the anniversaries possibly coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because again, you guys don't remember in 2013 that was a big deal. Davidoff coming out with an all Nicaraguan cigar. It was.
Oh yeah.
It was for them. It was so out of the box, and they put a huge campaign around that. In fact, they launched it at the IPCPR in Vegas. I remember going up to the Davidoff store and getting to try it and everything. Which was, and in fact, what was interesting is they launched it in Vegas, and we got out to Vegas a couple of days early, and they already had it for sale at the kiosks. So actually, I had it before the official launch was done, and yeah, it was a big deal. So I would expect. I think it was worthy of a 10-year anniversary cigar. They're going to be aging some of the tobacco in rum barrels, which I think is interesting. They've done great with Winston Churchill Late Hour with that. So there's certainly a track record of success with it. $36 cigar. That's it'll be interesting to see how it moves. But I think I was glad to see something. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad Davidoff's coming out with something new as a limited edition. As he's bringing back all these limited editions. I don't think was a great idea. I think they never captured the original. These re-releases. So,
well, speaking of the ultra premium, another brand that has been on fire again, 2 years in a row. Selected Tobacco and United as well by association. They announced that they're bringing in a 10-year aged Atabey Diosis to PCA.
How cool is that? I mean, now.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys got the press release on that, and I loved how it was written. Like,
Yep.
hey, Nelson Alfonso wanted to know what happens if we age this another 5 years, double the aging period. I think it's a great idea. Because they've done well. They've done some extra age cigars in the past, like with Byron and stuff like that. They've released, and they've been very good with some of that extra age on it. So, no one knows aging like Nelson Alfonso does.
And it's
Maybe he's in a few group.
and what's interesting is they also said, because I thought about this too. Especially with cigars. Time is money, right? So one would assume that if it's twice the age, it's going to be more in cost because, more time, right? They're actually saying that the first batch is going to be the same MSRP as the standard 5-year age.
What a good job by Oliver and Nelson to do that. That's
Very
a great
interesting.
opportunity. Yeah, that's a really great opportunity for folks. I think it was a smart move. I don't know if they can keep doing that, because I don't know how many of these they've aged this long either. But that's a great thing. It would have been very easy for them to slap a higher price on that. So good job by those guys.
And it's interesting how they did it in that one size, and then their Atabey Black, the NFT cigar that they're actually going to make available. They did that in one size. They didn't do it like multiple sizes or all the sizes. It's like they did one project in one size.
Right.
Yeah. It's very interesting how they spread it all out.
Yeah. So of the 4 selected tobacco things that we know about, okay, the Alfonso Grand Selection, the Atabey Black, the Atabey Humidor, and now the 10 years extra aged, which is the one that's going to be the most sought after? The one that people.
Alfonso.
It's a tough answer. See, I would say the Atabey Black, but it's more limited. So I'm going to say the Alfonso as well.
I'm going to say the Alfonso.
I think people want to see.
So here's the thing. I had said when I got that. I mean, I knew that cigar existed. We all did. The 3 of us knew.
We saw it at the show. It was at the show last year.
Yeah, we knew it existed.
We had it in articles and video. It wasn't a secret.
Yeah, we knew it existed. We just didn't know when it was coming. And I'll be honest with you.
We talked about what could. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I'll be honest with you. I was surprised to see it so soon because, especially after the success that, the first Alfonso had in just its first year, I was like, hey, maybe they let this ride a little bit, and then they bring in the next one, and they said, no, let's bring in the next one right away. And I think doing that, everyone's talking about Alfonso, right? I mean, if you know about it, you follow who they are, you know about Alfonso. And you know how successful that was. It was our cigar of the year. Half Wheel gave it cigar of the year. It's still hot. It's still on people's minds. Then you bring in the next one, and I think that people are going to be like eager to let's try the next one because that other one was so good. Like now I got to know how this one is. The 10-year age I think is very cool and it's very very smart of them. I think it'll be interesting to try it, and I think it'll be good. I think it'll be successful. Atabey Black, like you said, Coop, be a little limited.
Too limited.
I don't think they're really at the status where something that limited people are going to go nuts for. Not that it won't be bad, but I don't think it'll be that. The Humidor is cool. Most people are not going to have like $4 or $5 grand to buy that. It's beautiful, small amount. Very high in price. Yeah. I think the best bet is that Alfonso. I think that Alfonso is one that most people are going to gravitate towards the most.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, though, that Nelson wouldn't put a cigar out if he didn't think it was ready. I mean, I think that's really just from
very
seeing,
true.
So I have confidence that if it wasn't ready, we wouldn't have seen it this year.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like, though, that this year they're giving a little more attention to Atabey. Last year was more Byron and Alfonso. Now this year it's Alfonso and Atabey. So that makes some sense. Atabey's going to get a little more attention this year as a brand.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know if like we were talking. I don't know if Nelson comes out this year or not. I'd be surprised if they do to Nelson this year. I could see them waiting one way.
These 4, yeah, I would be surprised as well.
I would say, if I was betting, I don't know. I was kind of under the impression last year that we might see that this year. Now where we are with what we see, I don't think we see Nelson this year. I think they wait on that one. They stick with it. They got a lot of heat already. I mean, I think they run with these.
There's another.
And maybe next year we see Nelson.
And there's another Byron, if I'm not mistaken, either. 1850. I think there's another Byron.
1850. Well, that came out last year.
But there's another 1850.
Vitola?
There's another one they have that they showed up at last year's show.
They haven't announced for this year, but they showed, yeah.
Oh, they showed it.
They showed it. I'm actually seeing if I can pull the name up here real quick.
Last year, also, Coop, don't forget, last year, Mitchell, you were in the booth, so you remember this. Last year, they also did that, a Peak Poema, the Byron a Peak Poema, the longer one, in that like folding humidor.
That's what it was.
Which that cigar was already out, but they did that humidor presentation of it.
That's what it
which
was.
I think was a very small production as well.
I think that was released already, though.
The cigar was already released.
I don't think the humidors came out yet. Yeah.
No, it is because I've seen it. I know. I know people who have it in stock.
Yeah.
The poem is okay.
I think.
Now remember though,
Byron,
that cigar was already out. It was just that humidor set with that cigar that was new. But that was also another highlight from the show last year. So yeah, you're right. Byron got some attention with those two products. Atabey, the only thing we really saw from Atabey was that big humidor last year, but it didn't come out last year. That's coming out this year. The 10-year age is coming out this year. You never know with those guys, and you guys both know it. You never know. I mean, they could pull something.
Never know.
You never know. You know.
No, I mean they have plenty of stuff already. I mean they can go into this trade show as is, and then United's got the new red anchor sizes. They can go in and have a very strong trade show with what they have. I think they'll make one more announcement before the trade show, just how they've been timing this. They've been doing like one a week, so maybe they'll try to get one more in before they have to start getting ready for the trade show. So maybe we'll see one more announcement, but they can go to battle into the trade show very strong right now.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think so I think they could be fine with that.
My question is now, seeing what we see for this year, what do we see for next year? And, that's the thing. We could get to the trade show. They might not announce anything else. We could still get to the trade show in a couple weeks, and we'll see something new that we haven't seen before. It wasn't announced. And we're like, oh, what's that? Who knows?
And maybe they don't need – they may not need to do a new line. So maybe they do some other extra aging projects. They do some extra humidor offerings. Maybe expand some of the sizes in these lines. So there's things that they can do where maybe they don't have to come out with a new and I don't think it's healthy for them to come out with a lot of new brands every year either. So
no.
So I think I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe they show something that's going to be in 2025. Who knows? So it's definitely a boost that's on everyone's radar. So I've already made my appointment for that boost. So.
We do it. We have as well, yeah.
Yep. So we went and did that. Yeah. So we weren't wasting any time because that booth gets crazy, as you know.
Oh yeah.
Oliver is and they do a great job. It's one, like I said, it should have won booth at the trade show last year. El Septimo, I know, got it. They had a beautiful booth, but it did not compare to the United booth. And there's so many reasons I can go into why the United booth was the best booth of the show. Just from the lighting and it just like we talked about, it had that like luxury car dealership feel. That's how you show a luxury product off. I've said if you're going to come out with $50 cigars, you better display them like they're $50 cigars. So they did a great job. So I'm excited. I'm really excited about the Red Anchor sizes as well. Red Anchor did very well on Coupe. It's probably going to end up on the end of your list. Red Anchor is a cigar, ages fantastic. I think Hendrik Kellner is going to be at the booth this year too. Henry Kellner Jr. So really good guy. We had him on the show last month.
Yep. Yeah, that would
enjoy
be
him a lot.
That would be interesting to see.
Yeah, he's a fantastic guy. So yeah, I know you guys had Klaus on recently.
We did.
Yep. So So Klaus will be at the trade show. I'm positive. He always goes. So
Yeah, he'll be there.
Yes.
He told us
gonna
he
have
was going to be there.
yeah. He got married in Vegas one year. He actually got married at a trade. He actually is the other guy I know got married at the trade show. But I
know,
think he did it after the trade show. You did it before the trade show,
but it was the same week.
and he
No, I think he did it before. I think he did it before.
he did it before. He did it before, and he did it. He did it in like 2019, I believe.
Yeah, but
Did
I'm
he do
saying,
it before?
but,
I thought he,
but I think he did
okay.
it like we did. I think he did it like like the few days before the show started.
Yeah. I thought it was after, but I knew it was. He did get. He's the other guy who got married at a trade show, though.
Yep.
That I
Yep.
know of.
We joke because I got him beat because I also got engaged at the trade show the year before.
And-
So,
Look, you've done the trifecta: engagement, marriage, and baby on the way.
well, the baby won't land at the trade show though. I bet. She
No,
better,
but
she better
there's a
not.
baby. There's a baby getting ready to
Mhm.
make its appearance.
Mhm.
So we won't see Nicole there, but I think she's got a lot more important things right now to manage. So with that than a trade show. So
Yeah, Nicole's
see her
sleeping
next
right
year.
now. She's getting she's getting further along. She's at
Yeah.
she's at that like I'm tired. I'm done.
yeah, I can imagine.
She's getting to the point where she's had enough.
Yeah, so it's coming soon. So you have done the trifecta to some extent.
Yeah, I guess as close as I could, right? As close as I
Yeah,
could.
yeah. I mean, yeah. So
I don't think anyone can take that away from me.
there were jokes last year that will baby be at the next trade show. I mean, there were people saying
Oh,
that.
yeah.
To you, so.
I was
So what like we were all saying it.
So and people are gonna ask me about that at this trade show. So the trade show next year in 24, it's gonna be like people are gonna be like, all right, so like, what's your big thing this year? And I'm like, I'm done. I'm just here. There's nothing going on.
I don't.
That's it.
I
I'm
don't
done.
think
There's no exciting thing
I
for
think
me.
you're done for a while. I think you'll be done. I think you want to be done for a while at this
Yeah,
point.
I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah. So,
It's like Carney.
exciting time.
Carney did it even faster than I did. Carney got
All three in a year. Summer rather.
he did it all in 1 year, one shot. I mean, they got pregnant, engaged, married, had the baby, and I just remember him telling me like, he's like, yeah, I had to tell my wife like I need to stop. Like we did everything in like 1 year. Like I need a break.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I never got one of those Carney cigars. I gotta hit him up for one of those cigars. Those autumn Carney cigars with the pink real FD bands. I gotta weasel one from him.
he's got some tucked away.
I know he does. Yeah.
He's got.
I think he's had more made since.
He
then.
probably has.
I actually think he's had more. Yeah. So.
It's not hard to do. I mean,
Yeah.
if he needs more, he can get more.
Yeah.
But there's
By the way, that's yeah. I mean, I guess the other question we just mentioned is we haven't heard anything about LFD yet, so it'll be interesting to see what they come into the show with this year.
That's true. I mean, last year they weren't at the trade show in 21, so they came back last year. They brought the NFT with them, which we know was a huge success for them.
Yep.
They brought the Solus, the Soli,
Yep.
which is Lito Jr.'s cigar, technically.
I have a review coming to that one up. I think that's gonna be in July though. That one's gonna come up.
And so I don't know. I mean, I'm going to say probably nothing new this year. I'm going to say I think they kind of stick with building on those. If they bring anything new, it's maybe
a line extension or something like that.
Yeah.
Next year's LFD's 30th anniversary, so that will be interesting.
Yeah, that's right. It is. That's right.
So I could see them maybe going a little more subdued this year, and next year's gonna be a big year for them. So.
Well, I know a guy. I'm gonna have to poke around and ask some questions.
Yeah, you need to get some get some info. But
now I will say I don't know if even if he does share any information with me, that doesn't mean I can repeat it because I have also been sworn to secrecy sometimes, and I stick by that. We have even outside of the media manufacturer confidentiality that should exist. I mean, I got a blood pact with him. I can't break it.
No, there's certain things. I mean, we get told off the record all the time stuff. So, My question is, what I say to people is, when you're gonna tell me something off the record, I said I don't want to get blamed if it gets out. I said, you got my word, it's not going to get out from me. But if you told someone else, then
Actually, you know, Alan brought up something. There could be a small batch. I'm not saying that because I know. I'm saying
no. They have talked about the LG. They've talked about the LG though.
Yeah.
They have talked about the LG.
They haven't.
We've been waiting for that LG for like 4 years.
Yeah, but they may if it popped up, it wouldn't surprise me.
Small batch 8, yeah. A cigar that's done incredible in Coop rankings over the years. There's always top cigars.
It's one of the best cigars they've made.
They've got a number 3 and a number 2, so could they get a number 1? You know, it's a fantastic cigar. So
Alan said he wants a factory press 5. I can tell you right now.
go find one.
Yeah, I mean,
go ask John for one. He won't get.
Yeah, go tell Carney you want a factory press 5 and see what he tells you.
Yeah.
But guys, I'm gonna get ready to wrap this show up here tonight. It's been a great
but we've
time.
kind of gone on long. Yep.
But we're starting to get into cigar coop territory here. So,
I heard that.
I know you. Yeah, of course. I know you did. I said it on purpose. I wasn't hiding. I'm not like Alan Rubin after a loss. I'm not hiding. I'm right here. Oh, sorry. I had to get it in there. But no, it's been a good show. It was a good show. Thank you both for being here with me once again.
Thank you, guys. Yep.
We got one more spare notes before the trade show, so I anticipate that probably being our probably most informative one. By then, we should pretty much know everything that's coming to the trade show.
Yep.
Because it will be like a week before. I think when does that fall? Like a week before we go to the trade show?
Yeah. Yep.
Because it would be 2 weeks from now. So, yeah, by then we should definitely almost know everything for sure that's going to be out. So, that'll be an exciting one. We have Scott Pierce coming on our show this week, which, Coop, I didn't realize he was coming on with you this week. So we're kind of going a little back to back. Apologize, but
we always bring Scott on for the 4 shows beforehand. He's usually the kickoff. And look, I got to say this again about Scott. He's to get the access we've had as media with him. And look, I haven't always been nice to him. Sometimes, especially going back to CigarCon. He is but I always thought I tried to be fair as possible. So, but he did, this will be a good show. I think, like I said, you're not going to be able to beat him. There's not much to beat him up on this year, Matt. So, it's going to be an easy show, I think.
That's right.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm
like the
too.
things I want to beat him up on were not things I felt that were discussions for the air. There's a few things I want to talk to him about, but they weren't discussions for air until him and I have had a talk first. So.
Yeah, and I think you and I have a lot of the same questions too. So.
Yeah, but he's like I said, we don't have to. Like I even said, I don't have to agree with everything with Scott, but he made the time for us at a political event in Tennessee to get on our show, which was a big deal.
Yeah.
So
he's a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
He's always been good to us. So I'm very excited to have him on once again.
Best executive director in the history of the PCA. I'll say that absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree.
What
he's done in a tough job. Really has that. Yep.
I agree. He's been fantastic. Very helpful. So yeah, I know Mitchell probably has a lot of questions too. He's usually got his stuff lined up. So there'll be a lot of things being asked on that show. As much as we can, right? So make sure you guys tune in for that. Don't miss that one. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all of our social media platforms, on our YouTube channel, and everywhere you can find your podcasts on all the podcast apps. And as always, visit smokintabacco.com for more news, reviews, and our upcoming coverage of the 2023 Premium Cigar Association Trade Show and Convention, brought to you by Drew Estate, the rebirth of cigars. We'll see you guys on Wednesday night. Take care.